Welcome into our special continuing live coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson. Gulf Coast states bracing for an imminent landfall in the next 36 hours, and you are in luck because we have expert analysis you can only get here on the Weather Channel. Our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. We've got Tevin Wooten in Pensacola Beach, Felicia Combs, our meteorologist in Biloxi, Mississippi, and meteorologist Mike Seidel in Grand Isle, Louisiana. Before we get you out in the elements, I want to get you caught up with what's happening with Cristobal right now. We have recently got a new advisory, and our hurricane expert again, Dr. Knabb, has been watching this. Dr. Knabb, water still looks to be the main concern.
Absolutely. Can't rule out some wind impacts as well, but the wind is going to be causing some water impacts at the coast, but rainfall and inland flooding is going to be a big problem here. So we got the new advisory from the Hurricane Center. The max winds are 50 miles an hour. Yes, I get it. This is lopsided. It is not pretty, but it is large, and it's got a lot of water, and it's going to affect a lot of people for a long period of time. Large storms are always worse than smaller ones, and that pressure is pretty low, 994 millibars. So for a tropical storm, that's low, and that pressure difference is being used to create the large storm. Look at this big band all the way over near the west coast of Florida. They had some tornado warnings there. That risk continues. The system is moving north at 12, and it's centered almost 300 miles away from Louisiana. But again, the weather is already going downhill, and the reason it's so lopsided because we have an upper level low on top of it. So this is a hybrid kind of setup. There's the exposed low level center, and there's that main band, but there's a lot of wind in there, even in the dry slot. So here's the new track and intensity forecast. Again, still expecting a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm in the next 24 hours, getting close to the coast, but the winds and the weather will be arriving before then. The tropical storm warning now includes Baton Rouge, New Orleans, all the way over to Destin, Fort Walton Beach. And the winds are starting to increase. It's still not too bad in Louisiana, gusting to 20 at Biloxi, been gusting up as high as 30 over at Pensacola. Winds out of the east on the north side of it. Things are going to be increasing. And it's late tonight, very early tomorrow, when the winds of tropical storm force could start arriving in some spots if you get one of those bands. And look how gusty this is going to be over a large area. These are wind gust forecasts from a global model. Might not have all the details right, but you get the idea. If the center's way over here, you could be gusting to tropical storm force way over on the Florida Panhandle. So this could be causing some power outages. We still have the storm surge warning outside the risk reduction system, southeast Louisiana, coast of Mississippi. Listen to whatever your officials are telling you. Still have the high rip current risk. Onshore flow is going to be persistent into the coastal areas of the northern Gulf Coast and the Florida Panhandle, west coast of Florida. But here's some updates from the Weather Prediction Center that you need to know about. The risk for inland flooding from rainfall is going up. Look at this. What the Weather Prediction Center calls a moderate risk. Likely flash flooding tomorrow night into Monday morning in New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, coastal areas and southern areas of Mississippi, and the risk goes all the way through the Florida Panhandle. But that's not the end of it by any stretch. Look at this. Likely flash flooding near Jackson, Mississippi, up through near Little Rock and extending all the way into Missouri. So, Alex, I think this is the big story. It's not just going to be a coastal event. It's going to be an inland event. And water, especially the inland flooding, is probably the most life-threatening aspect of this that's going to impact the most people.
We've seen it so many times with other tropical systems, so something we're definitely going to watch. And we could see the storm surge issues along the coast. Parts of Louisiana included. The town of Grand Isle, one of the areas that we're watching. That's where meteorologist Mike Seidel this evening. And Mike, in addition to the surge problem, we've already had rip current issues where you are as well, unfortunately, fatalities.
Yes, last night around 7, we were right here about 3 miles down the beach. 2 young brothers, 8 and 10 years old, perished. They drowned, an undertow and rip current. Their stepfather tried to save them. He's in critical condition. Their 12-year-old cousin, she's in the hospital and is expected to make a full recovery. Let's talk to the mayor, David Camadel, from here in Grand Isle. He's been the mayor since 1994. Let's first address the tragedy that struck here just a few weeks after we had a drowning from a rip current in the same location on the west end of the island.
Yes, sir. It was a tragedy because when I got the call, we was putting pumps on the other side. But the 3 young ones that passed, the 2 of them that passed away, and I believe the 12, 13-year-old is still alive. and the other one is it's in critical condition, like you said. But the currents are strong. You know, we got rocks on that side of the island, on the western side, and we're doing construction work on that side, and there's a lot of rip currents. And I know you talked to the commander of the Coast Guard, which was at the site, and my EMTs and my firemen, they all did a wonderful job and trying to save the two young ones. You know, it was unbelievable. But we're asking the people to stay off the beach. This is the type of the year. June the 1st starts off the hurricane season, and that's where the rip currents, as you can see behind, and in that area it was devastating.
And they went around the barriers, the barricades, and now you, the city, is going to install something a little bit, hopefully, that will keep people from repeating what they did last night at 7 o'clock.
What it is, we had put barriers, cement barriers and beach closed, and they just kept on, you know, they work around themselves. And I'm not saying just them, just quite a few people, they love to come to the beach.
Right.
But, you know, of all times, you know, with this type of situation, it's a tragedy. But we're going to start putting, after this is over with, we're going to put 3,000 to 4,000 feet of more fencing and make sure that we protect it. And keep out of that zone on the western side of Grand Isle when you come into the island. This is where construction is going on with the rocks. Caminada Pass is right there. This is where the currents are coming in right now as we speak. And I'm asking the people, stay away from the rocks because of the rip currents. It's terrible.
Okay, real quick, we have about 30 seconds. Give us an idea of what's ahead. High tide tomorrow morning around 11 a.m. with the pumps and the water coming in from the north side.
Yeah, right now we got a total of maybe 16 pumps. Some of them, in case electricity goes out, we got backup generators. And also we just got, between the 16 of them, we got some 12-inch pumps that we put in that's like piggybacking on the ones that we have. But the main concern right now, we're going to get a lot of water from the back. And what's going to happen is going to flood that area, the back of the island. So in the meantime, we prepare for once it starts falling out. And once it comes over the levee system, and where we don't have levees, it'll come in, but we're going to have to pump it out. And usually with a storm like this, it takes about 75 to 76 hours to pump it out.
Okay.
So have patience with us. Let's get it over with. And then we're going to make sure that we bring everybody back to Grand Isle.
Get the sun back out here.
Exactly.
Okay, Mayor David Commandell, thanks for joining us here in Grand Isle. Again, rain showers here, but nothing like they've seen east of here. Meteorologist Tevin Wooten is at Pensacola Beach. And Tevin, the worst weather today, as far as the wave heights and the rain and the tornado threat, has been in Florida, not over here in Louisiana. What you can tell us right now at 4 Central there on the beach?
Mike, good afternoon to you. We are live here in Pensacola Beach, Florida, and Santa Rosa County, and let me tell you, in Escambia County as well. Let me tell you here, the waves are certainly strong for much of the northern Gulf Coast. Take a look at this, 9 to 12-foot waves breaking in here, that coming out of the National Weather Service, and you can sort of see how some of the sand is also being carried in with the whitecaps as well. That's because the waves are crashing in near the sandbar. Now, the beaches are open, however, the water is closed because of the high risk of rip currents. And then just beyond that, in the Gulf of Mexico, look at those dark and stormy clouds. Really, that's been the theme as we've gone throughout the entire day. Those outer rain bands far removed from the center of the storm, crashing through here, driving through very quickly at a large and a very quick clip to close to 25 to 35 miles an hour is how quickly some of those storms were moving through. Because they were small and because they were fast moving, it was enough to just certainly aggravate people that were out here on the beach. They quickly go in, almost like ants scattering at times, sort of amusing to watch, of course, hoping nothing bad or terrible happens. However, but just as quickly as people run in, the showers are done and people come right back out. And so people are going in and out of the beach, going back into the hotels, then coming back out, much like what we see now, just light rain showers. However, some of the strongest activity that we have seen has certainly added up, close to 3/10 of an inch of rainfall in about an hour's time. And as we've seen throughout the entire day, we've picked up close to 4/10 of an inch of rain. So what does that look like as we go throughout our forecast period? Well, I think we do have another 4 to 5, maybe even 6 inches of rain that could cause some flash flooding for some of the lower lying areas. And also with the surge, excuse me, with the storm surge, I am sort of concerned about Escambia Bay and areas in northeastern Pensacola because of that strong push of winds, ultimately, Alex, creating that strong push of waves as well. So that's the latest here from Pensacola Beach. Alex, let's send it back to you.
Yeah, you know, even when the weather gets nicer, it's still going to be dangerous in the water. So if you're at the beaches, have fun, but please be careful. Tevin, we're going to be checking back in with you. Thanks. I want to take you to Biloxi, Mississippi right now. We have been dealing with heavy rain off and on throughout the day. We've got our tropical storm warning, storm surge watch in effect, or warning in effect as well. Tonight, you can expect those wind gusts as high as 40 miles an hour. So the wind's beginning to pick up. Felicia Combs, our meteorologist, is there. Felicia, I would imagine it is a much more active than it was this time for you yesterday. You've seen some serious changes.
Yeah, definitely, Alex. Huge difference today. We went from sunny skies, tons of heat yesterday to rain on and off so far in Biloxi. Now, I will tell you, pretty quiet right now, but this is certainly the time of transition. We're going from the quiet day, the heat, the sun that we had yesterday. So you may notice things are blowing around. My ponytail's blowing around because that wind is beginning to pick up. It's going to continue to pick up. I also want to point something else out to you here. If you look behind me, you'll notice that rain, those dark clouds. That's just one pocket of the rain that's trying to make its way onshore at this point. Now, initially here in Biloxi, we're going to start to see some broken pockets of rain. You'll notice as Rodney pans over there that there's not rain everywhere. However, around 50 miles offshore, we've got a pretty good band of rain. If we take a look at the current radar of what's going on, that solid band of rain, once it moves onshore here in Biloxi, we're going to have hours and hours of rain. And of course, that is going to lead to that possibility for some flash flooding problems. Once it starts raining tonight, we're really going to see rain being a big part of the story as we head through Sunday, pretty much all day, even into Monday. For this area locally, we're saying 4 to 8 inches, maybe some higher amounts, especially along that I-10 corridor. You could certainly see some ponding on the road. So if you are trying to plan on leave, we actually talked to some people earlier who are here from Atlanta, and they were like, well, should we leave? We don't want to drive in the rain. And I was like, well, you know, once it starts here, it's going to be coming, and you might get breaks here or there, but that's why we're expecting the rainfall to add up so much here, and that's going to make this a dangerous situation. And then also the storm surge could be a problem here. That's why we have the storm surge warning, 3 to 5 feet for this area in Biloxi. And we know, Dr. Nab, storm surge is one of the most deadly things that you have to deal with, one of the most destructive things you have to deal with in terms of tropical systems.
Yeah, and Felicia, you're in one of those places that could experience both saltwater flooding and rain-induced freshwater flooding. So water is going to be a problem along the Mississippi coast, and that's why we have storm surge warnings. Where Felicia is in Biloxi, that's kind of the eastern extent of this storm surge warning. Then it goes through Gulfport and Long Beach and past Christian and Waveland. It's outside of the hurricane risk reduction system. So New Orleans itself and Lake Pontchartrain are not in the storm surge warning, but Lake Bourne is. And then we have the storm surge watch, Grand Isle westward. So this is where there's the danger of life-threatening saltwater flooding from the Gulf of Mexico. And if local officials have told you to get out in that warning or watch area, you got to get out. It's the only way to be safe from this saltwater flooding. Outside of those storm surge watch warning areas, we also have coastal flood advisories where the threat isn't as great, but it could still get you into trouble if you're driving on a coastal waterway or you park your car there. You could run into some water-covered roads. You don't drive across a saltwater-covered road any more than you would drive over a freshwater-covered road. Now, we got to get all these preparations to get out of these storm surge-prone areas before the winds of tropical storm force arrive, before the weather gets bad, because then it's too difficult, dangerous to be on the road. So that's late tonight, early tomorrow morning, okay? So you want to get done into your safe place by tonight when you go to bed. The large size of the system, again, is what is causing this push of water. Look at all those isobars. That's where the aiming of the winds is directed, and it's also because we're so shallow here. That's why this large area, the Gulf of Mexico, is so prone to storm surge rather than waves on the coast. We already have some modest water rises on the coast. We're headed into low tide, but these values could be realized tomorrow because, look at tomorrow morning, Alex, late tomorrow morning when we have the maximum onshore push, that's when the tide could be the highest as well. So it's right around here. That combination of timing could be bad trouble, the highest storm surge values that we'll get.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a duo we do not want to see. So going to watch those areas closely. I also want to head over to Tampa, Florida, because you talked about how far those effects would extend. You don't have to be anywhere near the cone to get in on the very heavy rainfall. So this is why we're also concerned about just the possibility for some flooding. Take a look into the the early morning hours of Sunday, likely getting some drenching rainfall around Tampa. And I would say throughout the afternoon and evening, even into the overnight, more opportunities. How about New Orleans, the Big Easy? You can anticipate those 20-plus mile-per-hour gusts to begin now. Late on Saturday, those continue all the way through late Monday. Now, the stronger gusts, they'll pick up tomorrow morning, continue into Monday morning. Rainfall forecast for the city, 5 to 8 inches. So very likely that we see areas around New Orleans in that half foot for rainfall. There's a look at the area forecast in the metro area. Again, half foot, very likely. The farther east you are, the more likely that you see the higher amounts. Western spots see lesser totals. So Lafayette may only be around an inch. Well, Cristobal will bring rain out to a lot of areas along the Gulf Coast. Not out of the question, some areas could even see a foot. We're going to talk about who next.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and nutrients to support immune health.
Yeah, I'm married. Does it matter? You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Hey, do they ever ask you what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Red sweater, button-down shirt. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This is a surprisingly filling snack in a little can. V8, the original plant-powered drink. Veg up.
Father's Day may only come once a year, but dads are always doing. This year, celebrate Dad with savings on all of his favorite things, all from his favorite place, the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Cover it up. That's what I did when I started losing my hair. But then I realized I could actually do something. Now I use Keeps, the easiest way to keep my hair. And it only costs $1 a day, which means no more covering up. Get started at Keeps.com.
Our Hillshire Farm craftsmen start the day slow roasting turkey for incredible flavor. Then they double seal every slice for freshness. The results, well, they speak for themselves.
Ignition.
Visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the RDX.
We are the Thrivers, women with metastatic breast cancer. Our time for more time has come. Living longer is possible and proven in postmenopausal women taking Kisqali plus fulvestrant. In a clinical trial, Kisqali plus fulvestrant helped women live longer with HR-positive, HER2-negative metastatic breast cancer, and it significantly delayed disease progression. Kisqali can cause lung problems or an abnormal heartbeat, which can lead to death. It can cause serious liver problems and low white blood cell counts that may result in severe infections. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including breathing problems, cough, chest pain, a change in your heartbeat, dizziness, yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, tiredness, loss of appetite, abdomen pain, bleeding, bruising, fever, chills, or other symptoms of an infection, are or plan to become pregnant or breastfeeding. Avoid grapefruit during treatment. Ask your doctor about living longer with Kisqali.
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat. We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, mainly clear skies. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Low 65. Sunday, sunshine and some clouds. High 78. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday night, a few clouds. Low 61. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Well, you can imagine it's a busy time for the hurricane hunters. Already this early in the season, they are out doing really important work, collecting more data on Tropical Storm Cristobal. Here's a look at the team flying out into the storm yesterday out over the Gulf of Mexico. Cool. They are brave. They're in for a bumpy ride when they get out there in that storm. But again, doing really, really important work, getting us real-time information from that storm. Latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center: Cristobal, a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm with pressure 994 millibars. And what's really important to note about this storm, the size. It's really lopsided, though. I think even our amateur weather watchers looking at this going, gosh, I don't feel like it looks like a usual tropical entity. A lot of the action on the eastern side of this system. This is now moving north 12 miles an hour. So earlier in the week, remember, we were watching this thing just creep, if not sit still. So the fact that it's moving is putting us back in play. Beginning to see the impacts, beginning to pick up that wind, and a lot of rain, even some thunderstorms coming today into portions of the southeast, water spouts along the Gulf of Mexico, and that rip current danger also on the increase. So here is the forecast, looking at this system to move onshore late Sunday, early Monday morning. So as we go through tomorrow and into the first half of Monday, that's when things are really going to be going around the New Orleans area, eventually moving up into portions of the Mid-South, Midwest. So heavy rain, Dr. Nab, is something that's going to remain a threat well into the start of next week. And that is the biggest problem, I would say, that this situation poses. And it's typical of large storms because it lengthens the duration of the rain. You know, it's going to be, in some places, 2 days of rainy weather, and embedded in there is going to be some really heavy downpours at times. And so we've got flood watches from Baton Rouge and New Orleans all the way across the north central and northeastern Gulf of Mexico down the Florida Peninsula. That's where the flood watches are in effect. And tonight into tomorrow morning, it's northern and central Florida and along the Panhandle coast that has the greatest chance. But then during the day tomorrow, that risk will extend westward into Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. And because it's so lopsided, we're already starting to get the rain. That's why the problem is already starting. You know, don't worry so much about when landfall of the center is. We're already getting waterfall of the rains of the northeastern part of this system. And Florida's been taking the brunt of the heavy rain and occasional tornado warnings today. And look at that big band that's going to be coming in and skirting the west coast here. So that could be vicious lightning and heavy rainfall, maybe some flooding. And here north of Orlando and just east of Ocala, we've got a flood warning. It's in effect in Marion County, Florida, including the Bellevue community till 8 p.m. local time. And you're getting some training of those thunderstorms, and it's coming down quickly. More than 1.5 inches an hour is what's happening here. So you can envision that if you're in a place like Mobile or Pascagoula or New Orleans or Baton Rouge, we're easily going to get 1 inch, 2 inch, maybe more per hour rain rates, and it's going to rain for several hours. So you get the picture of why it's nowhere near being out of the question to get 6 inches,
locally up to 10 or 12 inches of rainfall out of this. So here's the big concern tomorrow night into Monday morning, that New Orleans, Baton Rouge, all the coastal counties of Mississippi, and then a pretty significant risk around that is going to have flash flooding somewhere in there. And then the risk is pretty high up from Jackson, Mississippi. You know what a flood-prone area you've been this year, up into the area like Little Rock. So this is going to be a big deal. So we've got to take this situation seriously enough to make sure we stay out of the water. You don't drive into it, don't drive on a barricade, don't play in it. And Alex, this could actually be a big enough flood problem that some homes might be threatened. So you want to call 911.
Yeah, do not go out and drive in it if water starts to inundate your home. Right. Yeah, call the authorities. Want to take a time out on Cristobal for a second because we do have a lot of severe weather to walk you through. You can see the winds, they are going in Cheyenne, Wyoming. The camera bumping around. You can see the trees blowing in the wind as well. Plenty of severe warnings across sections of the west. We've also got high wind warnings across portions of the high plains. So we take you into parts of Wyoming where we also have a tornado warning. It's a long line of thunderstorms that's also warned upon for the threat of gusty winds. But along that line there near the southwest side of Rock River, it's Albany and Carbon counties under a tornado warning until 3:30. So this storm has crossed over I-80, soon over 287 there locally. A lot of wind possible here out of our severe thunderstorm warning in Boulder, Broomfield, and Jefferson counties. So these storms are approaching the Denver area, bringing with it, in addition to the wind, lightning and some heavy rain. There are your watches. I mentioned severe thunderstorm watches out for portions of Wyoming, Nebraska, a little bit of Utah, and parts of Colorado. In addition, we've got that threat of just very strong winds across the region. So we look at the future radar, what we're going to be up against as we go through the next few hours, and we'll be watching for plenty of storms. We just lost it, so don't think it just turns off later this evening. We're going to be watching for more showers and thunderstorms as we move forward in time. We'll get that back up and going for you. Into tonight, greatest risk will be across portions of Nebraska and into South Dakota, a little bit of North Dakota as well, but clearly watching places into Wyoming and Colorado that we've got the warnings right now. Well, coming up, Tropical Storm Cristobal inching closer to the Gulf Coast. We are counting down the hours until it makes landfall, and we've got the live reports and expert analysis you can only get here.
Oh, we love our new home. Neighborhood's great.
Amazing school district. The HOA has been very involved.
These shrubs aren't board approved. You need to break down your cardboard.
Thank you.
Violation. Violation.
I see you've met Cynthia.
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
And does help us save a bunch of money.
2 inches over regulation.
Thanks, Cynthia.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
These are extraordinary times, and we want to thank the extraordinary people in the healthcare community working to care for all of us. At Novartis, we promise to do our part. As always, we're doing everything we can to help keep Cosentyx accessible and affordable. If you have any questions at all, call us, email us, visit us online. We're here to help support you when you need us. Take care and be well. To learn more, call 1-844-COSENTYX or visit Cosentyx.com.
Now you can make any morning of the week feel like the weekend with Jimmy Dean Simple Scrambles, made fresh with 2 real eggs, sausage, and cheese, and ready in seconds.
Why don't you put a Sunday morning shine on tomorrow morning's breakfast?
One specific person I was able to help was a man from Chicago. He was elderly and he couldn't leave his home. And I was able to help him set up an online account so that he can make his payment through the phone. I didn't do much, but I felt like it was a lifeline for him.
Duracell Optimum will be right where you need them today, tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that, day after day. Packaging designed to make storage easier. Duracell Optimum.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal in a car.
To America's frontline responders, thank you. Tide Cleaners is offering free laundry services to the family of frontline responders. Visit hope.tidecleaners.com to learn more.
Feel like getting back out there? Nissan is ready to help you with a bold, award-winning lineup. Kick off summer with no payments for 3 months. Plus, we'll cover your payments for up to 2 more months. Or get 0% financing on 13 models for up to 84 months. Shop at home at nissanusa.com.
And welcome in, everyone. You are watching Weather Underground.
Both weekend days look great, Saturday and Sunday.
Get outside, enjoy, go for a bike ride, walk the dog. Why? Because it's going to be awesome.
Looks fantastic.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us on AMHQ.
Jim, Jen, and Steph all here with you to get you out the door, help you kick off a new week.
Can you get a better forecast than that?
I have never seen anything like that. Summer is just better when it starts with the Weather Channel.
Take a look. Some of the action from Cristobal, a water spout spitting off the Alabama coast on Dauphin Island. A lot of water spouts reported today, and that one actually moves on shore, so that's a tornado. Throwing a few of those beach umbrellas around. A lot of water spouts, though. You know, a lot of our reporters out there in the field have been saying as it rains, everybody kind of goes back into the hotel, then they get some sunshine, they go back out. A lot of people have reported and sent us photos of water spouts along the Gulf Coast today. This as that area of circulation. Tropical Storm Cristobal advances closer and closer to the Gulf Coast. Well, welcome back into our continuing live team coverage. We've got crews out there all along the Gulf Coast. One of those, meteorologist Mike Seidel. And Mike, the winds have really been picking up for you over the afternoon.
They have. We're sustained out about 20 miles an hour. And so I said, why put the hat on? Because twice it's blown almost all the way to Houston. Not literally, but so we've got these winds. And when the bands come in, we get the gust over 30 miles an hour. Now, let's go to the radar. Now, for the next hour or so here in Grand Isle, we're just going to be nickel and dimed by some light rainfall. It comes and goes, and occasionally you get a higher gust. But then you can see offshore where some of these squalls have had wind gusts. I checked one of the remote weather stations off the coast in the Mississippi Canyon, just gusting to 51 miles an hour. So it gives you an idea of what we're in for tonight and Sunday. Right now we got looks like a pretty decent shower off the coast right here. That's going to come in. But again, there's not a lot of red and orange on the radar right now in the short term, but that will change. The water is going out, believe it or not. Low tide tonight about 9:30 Central Time. The real concern is tomorrow morning's high tide. That is just before 11 a.m. That's when we're going to have to deal with some overwash, water coming in from the back of the island. But where we are, we're at the highest point of the island. We've got the berm and a very, very wide area between the beach and the building. So we're in a safe place. Where we are is not flooded since Isaac and then Katrina. And that was, more than 15 years ago. So we'll keep you updated. We'll stay safe here. But a lot more to come. Stronger winds, higher waves, and up to 4 to 6 inches of rain locally. Let's go back to Dr. Nab. You've got the latest. We got the 5 p.m. advisory in. Still forecasting a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm to make landfall, maybe right here in Grand Isle in about 24 hours or so.
Yeah, and I think the even more important characteristic of Cristobal is the large size, because the winds of tropical storm force extend almost 250 miles off to the northeast. Here's the center of circulation, and weather-wise, here's the center of action, right? That's where the heaviest rain is, but there's a lot of wind over a large distance in here. It's not just these 50-mile-an-hour winds happening right near the center. This is a large, lopsided system. A lot of the weather, a lot of the wind extend well away from the center of circulation, so don't get too focused on where the center is and when landfall occurs and all that, because because this is going to be a long duration event, front to back. It's lopsided because of that middle upper level low over top of it. So there's a little bit of dry air coming in there. So there could be breaks in between rain bands. Here's the primary band, but we got some banding, relatively close to the center that will perk up at times. But look at all those isobars. I mean, there's a lot of wind in here between the center and the coastline, even if there's not a lot of rain. So with the pressure of 994 millibars, there's going to be a lot of wind over the whole Gulf of Mexico, and you can see that in the buoys just north of the center. They're gusting to 34, way out to the east, gusting to 34. So the wind field here is very, very large. As Mike was alluding to, we're starting to gust along the coast. Sustained winds not too strong on land. We've been gusting up near 30 at Pensacola, but this will be on the increase as tonight goes on, and we're expecting the max sustained winds tomorrow and tomorrow night when the center comes ashore to be about 60 miles an hour. But again, a lot of those impacts will extend way outside the cone, and because it's so large, a lot of this, even non-tropical up here, will be the same low for days up through the middle of the country. Tropical storm warnings extend fairly well inland to places like Baton Rouge and Mobile, so it's not just right along the beach. Winds of tropical storm force sustained could start arriving late tonight, early tomorrow morning. You want to be in your safe place and ready to ride out the storm by the time you go to bed tonight, because look at these gusts and how far they extend. This is a wind gust forecast from a global model. Might not have the details right, but you get the flavor. Gusting 50 to 60 miles an hour all the way over to the Florida Panhandle. That's why you got those tropical storm warnings there. Could get sustained, 40 and gusts up to 60, and that could go a pretty good, decent ways inland. And we're going to have some isolated tornadoes associated with this. Alex, speaking of which.
Yeah, even into Florida right now, we're looking at an area basically 15 miles to the west-southwest of Disney World. You can see Orlando in the upper right-hand side of the screen. It's Polk County. This storm is moving north around 25 miles per hour. It's near Champions Gate right now.
Discover what's possible for summer at Lowe's.
And we've upgraded her with a sonic shield.
Impressive.
There is one more thing.
Jake from State Farm.
Here's the deal. With the Drive Safe and Save app, you'll save up to 30% for being a safe driver. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Beat by the heat? Are you tired of those hot, sticky, sweaty days? No matter what you do, you can't get relief from the sun's scorching rays. Now there's the Arctic Hat, the evaporative cooling hat that keeps you 20 degrees cooler than the outside temperature, and has a built-in UV barrier that reflects the sun's heat and harmful UV rays. Just put it on for instant relief from the sun, or wet the inner liner and get the ultimate cooling relief. You'll feel 20 degrees cooler instantly, and it will keep you cool for hours. The secret is hydro-chill technology. An evaporative lining holds and gradually releases water for continuous cooling, while the built-in UV barrier blocks over 99% of the sun's harmful rays, keeping you cool and comfortable all day long. Look, this man's head is a scorching 102 degrees, but with Arctic Hat, he's a comfortable 78. That's over 20 degrees cooler. Breathable and lightweight with ventilated panels that allow air to flow freely. It's perfect for the beach or going for a hike, all kinds of outdoor activities. It's like having a personal air conditioner everywhere you go. Whether you're out enjoying nature or working in the yard, the Arctic Hat will be your cooling companion.
I'm always outside working in the heat, but with the Arctic Hat, I'm feeling cool and comfortable all day.
I burn very easily, but the Arctic Hat's UV protection lets me stay outside a lot longer without worry.
It's fully adjustable, so one size fits all. So get outside and stay cool and protected with Arctic Hat. Call now and get the Arctic Hat in your choice of brimmed hat or cap for just $19.99. Plus, every order today gets free shipping. But order right now and we'll double the offer. Just pay a separate fee. You get 2 Arctic Hats and free shipping for only $19.99. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-887-0193 or go online at buyarctichat.com. Don't delay, call 1-800-887-0193 or go online at buyarctichat.com. Order now.
Frito-Lay Variety Packs presents Totally Unrealistic, Never Gonna Happen in a Million Years Mom Fantasies.
Mother, Thank you for planning such an enriching camping trip for us.
Please accept this as a token of our appreciation.
Now let us sing to you.
This'll never happen, but this might.
There's like no reception.
I'm not cheering to 10. Ew, bugs!
Dibs on the Fritos!
Frito-Lay variety packs, packed with possibilities.
Everything is almost cloud-free at this point.
Plus, it's not cold at all.
We're drying out and even warming up.
We love it that way.
Better days start with the Weather Channel.
Our special team coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal continues right now. I want to get you back to that tornado warning in Polk County, Florida. This in effect until 6 o'clock local time. You can see Orlando on the top right side of the screen, and there to the southwest of Citrus Ridge, Adam Dean, our weather producer, has highlighted it. That's that area of rotation. This is moving to the north, and this is going to be one of the threats moving forward, even well outside of Cristobal's cone into the Sunshine State of Florida. We could be looking at more tornado warnings moving forward. So if you are in this part of Polk County, once you're in that lowest level, most interior room, you can see some strong thunderstorms even outside of that with heavy rain and frequent lightning. Well, our special coverage again continues right now. Here's what we know. We expect Cristobal to make landfall as a tropical storm along the Louisiana coast as we head into the overnight Sunday. That's prompted mandatory evacuations for Terrebonne Parish for Zone 1 there. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards has already declared a state of emergency ahead of Cristobal's arrival. And this is exactly what we don't want to see. Swimmers getting into the ocean. We've got rough surf. We've got really dangerous rip currents. Here you can see a lifeguard checking in on somebody. The swimmer able to get herself out of the water. But unfortunately, the concern will continue for very dangerous ocean conditions over the next few days, even after the storm has passed. So the weather gets nicer, the sun comes out, it gets more tempting to get back in the water, but I want you to make sure you're swimming at the guarded beaches, you're listening to the lifeguards, because the rip current danger, that's something that will be persistent even after the storm moves northward. Current wave heights, you can see some of those higher wave heights beginning to get closer to the Gulf Coast, and the strong winds on the east side of the storm will be onshore as we move into the overnight and tomorrow morning. So that threat of surge, particularly tomorrow morning, in combination with high tide. That water gets pushed towards the coast. Then you've got the high tide as well. So you could see some coastal flooding issues for parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and a lot of Florida. We're talking the Panhandle and the west coast of Florida. Storm surge potential for much of the Gulf Coast, that 1 to 3 foot, expecting that somewhere in that zone. The highest totals, your highest amount of storm surge is portions of Mississippi's coastline and then eastern Louisiana. Now, this does not include the New Orleans area. We do not think it's going to be a problem. That surge mitigation system, the levee system that was upgraded after Katrina, that's going to handle this one. 2 to 4 foot surge down towards a place like Grand Isle, where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel. Rip current risk, though, through Sunday remaining high along those beaches. So again, I know it's tempting to get out there in the breaks, the sunshine in between the storms, but got to think about that risk, moderate risk across the west coast of Florida. Dr. Nab, time is running out. You know, we look at Mike Seidel there, and the wind has really picked up. Now, this is going to be a very manageable storm for a lot of people to get through, but there are some things that you need to do, you need to think about right now to make sure you get through it safely.
And there are people inland that need to prepare for this, too. I mean, it's not just getting ready for what happens at the coast. We got likely flash flooding in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, all the way up into Little Rock and farther north from there. So we've got flooding to get ready for. So here are some last-minute things you can do to prepare for a flood. Get those sandbags. We've shown you here on Weather Underground many times during the week on television here what to do to fill a sandbag. Fill them about half full, and then you fold them over and you stack them on top of one another so they kind of make kind of a grid that can stack about 3 high. And it's not going to keep a 5-foot storm surge out, but it could keep minor to moderate flooding from getting to your structure. So get those sandbags filled and put them around your property if you're concerned and if you live in a low-lying area. You want to clear leaves and other debris from your gutters and put valuables and other documents into a waterproof container, and then take that and anything else really important like your computer you might have on a floor or some furniture and take that up as high as you can in your home, especially if floodwaters are encroaching upon your home. You want to take photos and video of the interior of your home so that if you do get flooding, you have that documentation of what you had before it floods and gets ruined for your flood insurance claim, and then make an off-site backup of your computer data in case something does happen to your phone or your device or your computer. Now, we also want to bring some things indoors. Tropical storm force winds, the gusts to 50, 60, 70 miles an hour that could happen. You want to bring a lot of these things inside, and also if you've got rocks outside, if you've got time tonight, you might want to lessen the coverage of the rocks because the mulch is a lot less of a big projectile, right? But you want to bring in the grill, bring in the cooking equipment, bring in plants and planters, bring in any tools that you have that might be lying around in the yard, pool equipment if you have that, toys, patio furniture, any of this stuff can be flying around in the wind, and it's what flies around in the wind that causes the damage, not necessarily the wind itself. And Alex, we got a lot of things we can get to get ready for a power outage. Fill those prescriptions, get cash at the ATM. There still might be time for some of you to do that tonight.
Absolutely. I want to get you back to Florida. New tornado warning. This one just on the south side of SeaWorld to give you some indication of where in Orlando this is. Orange County under the warning. Dr. Phillips, you can see that very clear area of rotation just to the east of I-4 there, east of Lake Buena Vista, west of Meadow Woods. This storm is moving north, so it's going to cross over for 482. If you're in the path of this one, if you're around the SeaWorld area, lowest level, most interior room, we'll continue to monitor the risk of tornadoes coming up.
With Dish, you get the Hopper, TV's most powerful DVR. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once. Why so many?
See you in the morning. Okay, bye, sounds great.
Because we know more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Record up to 16 shows at once. Dish, tuned in to you.
If spending more time with your floor has been hard on your floor, it's not that hard to change it with the Home Depot. Just figure out how much you need, order the exact style you want online, and get it delivered, and install it with the help of our installation guide. Make your flooring life-proof, make it waterproof, and a lot better to spend time with. Save on top flooring brands like Lifeproof and Pergo on HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
When the Murrays started using Gain Ultra Flings, they fell in love with its irresistible scent. Looks like their dog Michelangelo did too. New Gain Ultra Flings with 2 times Oxy Boost and Febreze.
Now you can make any morning of the week feel like the weekend with Jimmy Dean Simple Scrambles, made fresh with 2 real eggs, sausage, and cheese, and ready in seconds.
Why don't you put a Sunday morning shine on tomorrow morning's breakfast?
And we've upgraded her with the Sonic Shield and holographic mapping drones.
Impressive.
There is one more thing.
Jake from State Farm.
Here's the deal. With the Drive Safe and Save app, you'll save up to 30% for being a safe driver and get a discount just for signing up.
Well played, Jake from State Farm. As usual.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Real people are realizing there's a better way to mobile.
My carrier probably has a lot of fees I don't even know are there. Basic phone line access, federal universal service charge, I don't even know what that is. Why am I paying these fees?
At Spectrum Mobile, there are no added taxes and fees. What you see is what you pay. $45 a line with our unlimited data plan or $14 a gig with our Buy the Gig plan.
The calculator said that we would save $600 a year. We've actually saved $612 in half a year.
With Spectrum Mobile, I'm saving over $350 a year.
$650 a year.
It's true. Most customers could see a savings of over $600 a year. Don't wait. Find your savings at SpectrumMobile.com or call 844-258-8115. And get it all with free nationwide talk and text and no contracts.
I'm ready to switch.
Get more for less with our unlimited data plan for $45 a line or our Buy the Gig plan for $14 a gig. Plus, get the flexibility to mix and match plans. Visit a Spectrum store. Go to SpectrumMobile.com or call 844-258-8115.
This is unlike anything I've ever seen before.
It almost looks like the mothership has landed.
That is so strange.
This looks apocalyptic.
This just seems unnatural to me. I cannot think of anything that would be more terrifying than that.
Whoever said our planet had to explain itself.
The Earth will do what it does.
Explore the strange phenomena of our weird Earth. Premiering next Sunday at 9, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 84 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, mainly clear skies. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Low 65. Sunday, sunshine and some clouds. High 78. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday night, a few clouds. Low 61. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back into our continuing coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal. I want to get you caught up on this tornado warning in Orange County. This was located very close to SeaWorld, heading northward along that International Boulevard corridor. If you're familiar with the area, a lot of hotels, apartments, condos. There's the area of rotation located just along and to the east of I-4. This storm is moving to the north-northeast, headed towards the Universal Orlando Resort. Tangelo Park, Oak Ridge, Holden Heights, a few more communities in the path of this. So we've seen a pretty well-defined area of rotation, and this is not unexpected. This is something that we'll actually continue to watch for through the remainder of today as we look at the overall circulation of Cristobal advance closer to the U.S. And we've seen some of those heavier rain bands and storms working into parts of Florida today, and now the Orlando metro area getting in on that possibility. So right where you see I-4, that little hook on the storm, that is where we are anticipating that possible tornado. Again, you can see this is on the southwest side of Orlando. All across Florida, though, gosh, we have been swamped with heavy rain, and that's something that will continue as we head through the next really few days, Sunday and Monday, bringing more heavy rain across parts of Florida. Our Tevin Wooten is in a different part of the state of Florida. He's over in Pensacola. They're on the Panhandle, so not in the cone, but you're going to be closer to the overall effects of Cristobal. The wind has really picked up.
Yeah, Alex, and I think that's a good sentiment for a lot of people along the northern Gulf Coast dealing with Cristobal, is that a lot of people won't be in the cone that would reflect the center of circulation, but a lot of people on the eastern side of that cone and the eastern side of that center will feel significant impacts, especially along I-10. We are here in Pensacola Beach, Florida. You just saw the lifeguard truck just go by. They are letting people know that the water is closed. The beach is open, however, so if you do want to brave the showers that are coming in with the outer rain bands, you'll have to come out and kind of enjoy it while you can, and then the outer rain bands come through. They clear it rather quickly, and then you can come back out once you go back in. So it's really just a dance to watch people with that rhythm that they get in. They think it's okay to be out here, and then all of a sudden the rain comes through, clears everybody out. A couple of people running back out here. They're here right now, but can't get in the water, though, unfortunately, though. But one thing that we do have to watch out for, not just the winds that, of course, you can hear hitting against the microphone, but also the storm surge threat and, too, the rising water and the flash flood threat as well. Let's work our way westbound to meteorologist Felicia Combs. Felicia.
Thanks so much, Tevin. Yeah, we're here in Biloxi, Mississippi. We're at the Small Craft Harbor, and I can tell you this is a completely different scene than it was, say, about 10-15 minutes ago. We had just one pocket of gusty showers moving through. The wind was blowing, the boats were rocking, very, very heavy rain, stuff you don't want to be out in. And that was just one pocket of rain that's going to move through. Now, right now, obviously quiet, but behind me, you can see as we kind of pan off to the shore that there is rain coming. We've got a band of very heavy rain that's going to be moving in. And once that rain actually moves in, that initial band that's well offshore, that is going to bring kind of the beginning of the rain that just keeps coming. While there will be some breaks on and off here, expecting quite a bit of rain in Biloxi, so the fresh water flooding or the rain flooding possibility is a danger. But also, as you'll notice as we look out, quite a bit of water around us. Storm surge is a problem here, but not just here. Mike, that's something you have to worry about in Grand Isle as well, the multiple different types of flooding.
Yes, and here on the beach here in Grand Isle, the water is going out. It's trying to go out, but the wind increasing now, sustained at about 20 miles an hour, is pushing the water back towards the coast from the Gulf of Mexico. Boy, this looks a lot different. If you were watching us this time yesterday, it's a whole different ball game out here because of the swell and the wave action, that wind and the wind energy creating the waves. And right now, it's hard to tell. They're breaking way, way out there. We're probably around 6, 7, 8 footers. This time tomorrow, 14, 15, 16 footers. And by the way, even though the tide has been going out now since 10 a.m., so we're talking, what's that, about 6, 7 hours? Look at what it's doing on the beach. The entire beach is still pretty much underwater when some of these waves come up. So that's the force of the wind going against the water trying to go out. So we're really concerned about high tide tomorrow morning at 10:55, and Dr. Nava just checked the gauge, and right now the water is running about 1.5 feet above where it should be, predicted values.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, we got a busy afternoon because we're starting to get more and more warnings, both flash flood warnings and tornado warnings in Florida on that northeastern quadrant. Here we are just west of Tampa in the Clearwater area. In fact, the city of Clearwater and Clearwater Beach, you are in this tornado warning until 6:15. Dunedin and Palm Harbor also in that as it moves straight north. This is the velocity signature right there just north of Largo, about to maybe go right over downtown Clearwater. Lowest level, most interior room, take shelter right now.
The fighting spirit is one we all share. Amanda Nunes wears hers with pride. From standing up for herself against the doubters, to being the only woman in her MMA training gym. Amanda refused to let stereotypes get in her way, whether inside the octagon or out. Since 1925, we've proved that it doesn't matter where you come from, it matters what you're made of. Modelo, the official beer of UFC.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal in a confidant.
Duracell Optimum will be right where you need them. Today, tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that, day after day. Packaging designed to make storage easier. Duracell Optimum.
What overheated underwear feels like. What Duluth Armachillo underwear feels like. Duluth Trading Armachillo underwear. Put 'em on ice. Only at Duluth Trading.
For over 75 years, people have saved money with Geico. Sorry.
Here we go from the top and action.
For over 75 years, people have saved money with Gecko.
Cut it.
What did I say? Gecko. I said gecko. Oh. For over 75 years.
Keep it together.
I'm good. For over 70. What are you doing there? Stop making me laugh.
Geico, saving people money for over 75 years.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Father's Day may only come once a year, but dads are always doing. This year, celebrate Dad with savings on all of his favorite things, all from his favorite place, the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
These are extraordinary times, and we want to thank the extraordinary people in the healthcare community working to care for all of us. At Novartis, we promise to do our part. As always, we're doing everything we can to help keep Cosentyx accessible and affordable. If you have any questions at all, call us, email us, visit us online. We're here to help support you when you need us. Take care and be well. To learn more, call 1-844-COSENTYX or visit Cosentyx.com.
Little choices make a big difference, like nutritious fruit smoothies. However you healthy? Naked.
For kitchens broken in by new chefs, bathrooms sinking battleships, garages built for getting stronger, and patios that stay open all night. Protect the pure joy of home with Terminix. Our experts are committed to keeping pests like rodents, roaches, spiders, and mosquitoes out of your home. Always backed by the Terminix promise to protect your home for all the love it holds.
Welcome back into our special continuing live team coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal. Gulf Coast states bracing for a landfall within the next 24 to 36 hours. Thanks for staying with us on this Saturday. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson. We've got full team coverage, including our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. Get to them in just a moment, but I want to start things off with a tornado warning here in the state of Florida. This is near Clearwater. It's Pinellas County under the warning. Clearwater, Palm Harbor, you can see to the north under this warning. This is kind of following right up 19A. There's that area of circulation just to the north of 590. You can see where the greens and the red match up to the east side of Clearwater there. Adam Dean highlighting that for you. That's that area of circulation, and this is something we've really seen increase throughout the day today. Water spouts and also tornado warnings. We are beginning to see that overall east-loaded circulation of Cristobal make its way towards the state of Florida and into the Gulf Coast region. Winds have picked up, and that tornado risk will remain. So we're looking at some of the cities in the path of this one. Palm Harbor around 6:13 local time. If you're in the path of this storm, as always, lowest level, most interior room, stay off the roads. If you know somebody who might be out on the roads, give them a call and let them know that it's headed their way. But I want to check in with our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. Dr. Knabb, we have anticipated the movement that we're now today seeing. This is getting closer to the Gulf Coast. We've seen things really increase down where, say, Mike Seidel is. Wind, but especially water, continue to be the big threats.
Yeah, and it's going to be a long duration event. I mean, you're going to have bad weather for like 2 days in a lot of places starting tonight, and it's going to last into Monday, okay? And that's because this is a large tropical storm. It is lopsided. It is loaded off to the northeast, and it's like some 400 miles across in terms of the extent of winds of tropical storm force. Ivor, it's not raining, okay? But it is raining hard on the northeast side, especially this big primary band and a lot of the other bands that are extending northeast of there. And this is the area here from, Tampa, Orlando northward where we've got the greatest threat of heavy rain and flash flooding, but also this band, when it comes into Fort Myers, Sarasota, that's going to be problems as well. But here we are just east of Ocala in the Bellevue, Florida area in Marion County, where there's now a flash flood warning until 8:45 local time. It's just training in the same direction. It has rained a lot already today, and we are getting nearly 1.5 inches per hour rain rates along this corridor. It comes and goes, but over the last few hours, we've been getting those rain rates in this general area. And here's one report from the area called Santos, which is near Bellevue. They've had over 4.5 inches of rain today, and other observation locations around that area getting that 3.5, 4.5 inch total. So, and this isn't a far-flung band, okay? This isn't really in the area that's going to get the persistent training over a couple of days, because that's going to happen, we think, farther to the west. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, the coastal communities and counties of Mississippi, all likely to get flash flooding tomorrow night into Monday morning. And I'll show you the cone, not so much to focus on the wind. It will be a tropical storm inland to some distance, but then this will be a depression and then a non-tropical low. The main problem with a big low following this path early to middle part of next week is the moisture that it's going to take northward. So starting Monday night into Tuesday morning, likely flash flooding for places like Jackson, Mississippi, getting close to Little Rock, and a non-trivial chance up into Missouri, Memphis, St. Louis in the mix there as well. Now look at these rainfall totals. The European model, global model, has been routinely spitting out 8 to 12 inch rainfall totals. On a previous run that was focused over New Orleans, it's been moving back and forth. We don't know exactly where the highest totals are going to fall. And look at this, how northern Florida, Jacksonville to Tallahassee, a heavy rain corridor. The bottom line is this is going to be a big rain producer with potentially life-threatening flash flooding. The GFS model, big corridor there, 5 to 8 inches. And then it goes north from there. This is definitely going to be an inland event. 5 to 8 inches in a lot of spots here from Arkansas all the way up through Iowa and Minnesota, with the moisture at least partially associated with Cristobal. GFS is similar. So that is the problem with a large tropical storm. It's not moving all that fast, all right? So from front to end, it is going to be a long duration event. And there's a lot of isobars in there, so even if you're not getting a heavy rain band, you can still be getting a lot of wind. We're getting gusts up near 40 miles an hour in a number of places at the buoys. It's starting to pick up along the coast here, gusting to 26 now at New Orleans, gusting to 25 miles an hour, Pensacola, Mobile. So Alex, tonight, the tropical storm force winds will eventually arrive tomorrow, and Monday going to be long days.
Yeah, you mentioned that long duration. We've seen the winds pick up where meteorologist Mike Seidel is, and that's something that's going to continue along the Louisiana coast. He's in Grand Isle. Let's check in with Mike Seidel. Mike, big difference between yesterday and today, and tomorrow looks to be even more active.
Yesterday this time, Alex, remember the sun was out, the breeze was light, people were in the surf, and now we've got rain showers coming in. Now, if you look on the radar, we don't have anything anytime soon that's going to be prolific, producing, say, wind gusts to tropical storm force. It's well off to our south and east, but over time, this evening, tonight, and tomorrow, we're going to see some of the heavier squalls come in as Cristobal draws closer. One sign that the wind has picked up, look at the sand now blowing on the beach. Obviously, we've got sustained winds now running 20, 25 miles an hour, so the wind has picked up. Always reminds me of covering a blizzard in the Dakotas. Here's the surf. Boy, Alex is right on the nose. This time yesterday, it was a whole different world. We had maybe 2, maybe 3 footers. Now they're breaking way, way out. It's like a giant washing machine here in the Gulf of Mexico. Remember, we're looking south. Water temperature, by the way, is 84 degrees. It's warmer than it should be, and we've been pointing that out all along. And that is fuel for the storm. But this storm is in train dry air. There's a lot of wind shear, and it's very asymmetrical. So because of those mitigating factors, we're not expecting Cristobal to get much stronger. Right now, officially making landfall tomorrow evening, maybe right in this area, right here on the island, with sustained winds of 60 miles an hour. Dr. Navis talked about the inland flood threat, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, and high tide. Our concern, the high tide tomorrow morning, 10:55. Low tide is this evening. The tide has been going out since late morning. It hasn't had much of a chance because of that wind blowing the water on shore. So the beach is still underwater with some of these waves coming up as we go towards low tide, just because the water right now is running about 1.6 feet above where it should be. Storm surge watch here for a surge of 2 to 4 feet. Let's go back to Chris Bruin now. He is west of here in New Iberia, Louisiana, inland. Chris, the concern there will be prolific rain and inland flooding and flash flooding tomorrow, even into Monday.
Yeah, Mike, I want everybody who's been following the lead up to Cristobal to notice all of everybody else's shots and where we are. Notice the difference in weather conditions.
Bruins mic up and going in just a moment. I want to show you right now some of that heavy rain advancing into portions of the Gulf Coast. At least some moderate rain that we just saw from Mike Seidel, but take a look at what's happening. Goodness gracious, over the state of Florida. We've got extremely heavy rainfall and also 2 tornado warnings. So this one is continued on the east, or rather west side city of Orlando. We've got Orange County under this warning, including Dr. Phillips, Maitland, Oak Ridge, and Pine Hills. These are communities in the path of this storm. This is a tornado-warned storm for radar-indicated rotation. It is moving to the north. The movement to the north is around 20 miles per hour. So this is an area that we think there could be a tornado spin-up. And this is very common with these tropical systems. And keep in mind, you're thinking, gosh, Alex, Florida is not even in the cone. Why are you talking about the tropical system? Well, it's so east loaded that the overall circulation of this system and the moisture from this system is affecting areas well outside the cone, and that includes the state of Florida. We've seen water spouts today along the Gulf Coast, and now we've got the tornado warning. So tornado spin-ups likely to continue across the region. There you can see Pine Hills in the path of this one. This warning extends until 6:30. This is a continuation of that warning. We were watching the storm down near SeaWorld earlier, making its way up towards Universal Orlando, for those of you familiar with the area. Now, on the northwest side of that warning, we've got Sumter County under a tornado warning. This includes the city of Center Hill and also Wildwood. Watching that one. This one's moving to the north at 25 miles an hour, also radar indicated. Now, the National Weather Service does say this is going to remain over fairly rural areas of northeastern Sumter County, but if you're in Webster, if you're in Adamsville, Coleman, Center Hill, these are areas that do need to be concerned about that possibility of a tornado. That's on the south side of the Villages. Soaking rainfall happening right now across Florida, and that's why we're also concerned about the possibility of flooding moving forward. That heavy rain is going to continue. Felicia Combs in Biloxi, Mississippi. This is an area, Felicia, you're under that tropical storm warning, so we'll get the winds. Even though you're not in the cone per se, a lot of heavy rain, a lot of wind headed your way, so just goes to show you the east side of this system really where the action is.
Yeah, Alex, I heard you say it earlier about, well, why are we talking about this in Florida? Florida's so far outside the cone. Well, Biloxi is also outside the cone, as you mentioned, but this storm is so east loaded that places like Biloxi along the southern portions of Mississippi really going to see a lot of these impacts. Now, Biloxi is a true water city. If you know anything about Biloxi, you know we've got water almost all the way around, at least on 3 sides of Biloxi. I'm going to take you on a bit of a tour from west to east. So as we pan over what you're looking at, as far as the eye can see, yeah, that's water. That's the Gulf of Mexico, portions of the Sound of Mississippi as well. And then as we slowly pan east, you'll notice that we've got those darker clouds offshore. That is that rain that we're watching that's going to continue progressing toward Biloxi. But we're going to keep going. The water doesn't stop there, and that's why storm surge is going to be one of the biggest hazards here as we continue to look eastward. Eventually, we could swing it around far enough that you would see the Bay of Biloxi, which actually wraps around to the northeast of Biloxi. So northeast of the city of Biloxi, you've got the Bay of Biloxi, and then to the south, you've got the Gulf of Mexico, water all around. And here's the problem. We're going to have really persistent southeasterly winds for a really long time, and that really causes that storm surge to add up. That wind energy just piles that water up, and that's why we have a storm surge warning here in Biloxi. 3 to 5 feet is the possibility. That's the prediction from the National Hurricane Center. Other hazards going to be that rainfall. It's pretty quiet right now, but we've seen some heavy rainfall as well. River flooding could be a problem. We do have that a flood warning for the Biloxi River near Lyman. So a lot of different hazards that we're going to have to look at here in Biloxi. And then we're going to throw on top of that the possibility for some tropical storm force winds. Things will continue to deteriorate here as we head through tonight and especially tomorrow. I think Sunday is going to be a rough day along that I-10 corridor, but especially for places here like Biloxi. So Of course, you want to make sure you're prepared. We had beautiful weather yesterday, a bit of a difference today. Today's kind of your day of transition, and you'll really begin to notice things going downhill tonight and into tomorrow. So the peaking of the storm surge actually expected to continue even into Monday as those winds continue onshore. So lots of different things to consider here in Biloxi and along the Gulf Coast, and expecting the rain to pick up again within the next hour or so. Dr. Nab.
Yeah, Felicia, so many hazards happening on this northeastern side of the system. It's all kind of associated with this primary band and the shape of the coastline pushing the water, the salt water this way, and there's bad weather associated with all of this. So this is really where the center of action is, this part of the storm right now. And again, we still have a flash flood warning here that's just east of Ocala in the Bellevue area until 8:45 local time. And Alex is going to update you on all the tornado warnings. But you see how this whole area is occupied by multiple kinds of warnings. So this is all happening some 300-something miles northeast of the center of circulation, right? That's so right-loaded. And because it's such a large storm, it has what we call a fetch, right? It has the ability to push the salt water of the Gulf of Mexico like a big old spatula, just shoving all of that salt water around to the north central and northeastern Gulf of Mexico. So that's why there's water rises happening and why we've got a storm surge warning. So this is the other water problem. We've got the flash flood problem, the fresh water. We got the salt water problem, the storm surge, and we got the storm surge warning here from the mouth of the Mississippi around to Gulfport and Biloxi. It does not include New Orleans. They're protected in this case by that hurricane risk reduction system. If you're told to evacuate from any of these watch and warning areas by local officials, you got to go. Also, you want to watch out driving around coastal roads, or don't want to park your car along the coast where you have these coastal flood advisories outside of the storm surge watch warning areas, because we've got those water rises happening in a large area. And late tonight into early tomorrow morning is when the sustained winds of tropical storm force are probably going to start arriving. So you got to have all these preparations done tonight. And again, because of the lopsided nature of this storm, we've got all of these isobars in this area. So even where there's not a lot of rain, there's a lot of wind that's pushing things around. And the shape of this coastline is what's catching that maximum storm surge. It's also the shallow shelf for a long distance away from the beach that contributes to this. And right now, we've got some modest water rises here, Dauphin Island, near the mouth of the Mississippi River. And those values are going to be going up because tomorrow morning late, Alex, we're going to have the maximum of the onshore push from the storm and the high tide.
Not a combination we like to see. You mentioned those tornado warnings. Let's get you back to them. Tornado warning here in Orange County. This is the west side of Orlando. A spotter reported a funnel cloud on this one. Fairview Shores, Maitland, Pine Springs, I believe was the name. Some of those are just communities in the path of this one. This or Pine Hills, moving north at 20 miles an hour. You can see where it is now, due west of downtown Orlando. That storm continues northward. So Lockhart at 6:25 local time. To the west of that, we've got Sumter County under a tornado warning. This continues for communities like Oak Ridge. We've got more coming up after this.
When you have depression, it can plunge you into deep, dark lows and can leave you feeling extremely sad and disinterested. Overwhelmed by bipolar depression? Ask about Vraylar. Not all types of depression should be treated the same. Vraylar effectively helps relieve all symptoms of bipolar depression with just one pill once a day. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. Metabolic changes may occur. Nausea, restlessness, and movement dysfunction are common side effects. When bipolar depression overwhelms, ask how Vraylar can help.
Looks like they picked the wrong getaway driver.
Gonna be paying for this for a long time.
They will, but with accident forgiveness. Allstate won't raise your rates just because of an accident, even if it's your fault.
Cut! Sonny.
Is that good?
Line. The desert never lies.
Isn't that what I said?
No, you were talking about Allstate and insurance.
When I
Let's try again. Everybody back to one.
Accident forgiveness from Allstate. Click or call for a quote today.
Father's Day may only come once a year, but dads are always doing. This year, celebrate Dad with savings on all of his favorite things, all from his favorite place, the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Counting your veggies can be hard, so we did it for you. V8, the original plant-powered drink. Veg up.
All right, I brought in Ensure Max Protein to give you the protein you need with less of the sugar you don't. I'll take that.
30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. Ensure Max Protein with nutrients to support immune health.
Duracell Optimum will be right where you need them today, tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that, day after day. Packaging designed to make storage easier. Duracell Optimum.
Have you taken a body blow at work? If so, it's good to know that the lawyers at Pasternak Tilker are in your corner, ready to get you back in the ring. Whether you have a workers' compensation claim, a COVID-19 claim, or a Social Security disability claim, Pasternak, Tilker, Ziegler, Walsh, Stanton, and Romano will always fight for you. Call them today at 1-800-222-WISH. That's 1-800-222-WISH.
Anyway. Take on me, take on me, take me on.
Every Troy built is tested to make yard work the best work. Troy built for life.
Planet had to explain itself. Explore the strange phenomena of our weird Earth. Next Sunday night on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 85 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Low 64. Sunday, sunshine. High 78. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday night, a few clouds. Low 61. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
And welcome back into the Weather Channel's continuing special live coverage here of Tropical Storm Cristobal as it approaches the Gulf Coast. Again, thankfully we do not have a major hurricane on our hands, but we do have a tropical storm, and it is going to come with implications. You know, believe it or not, remember Barry last year? A lot of people did a lot of preparations, and in many folks' homes, it underrepresented, right? But here in parts of Iberia and St. Mary's parishes, we had quite a bit of devastation, especially with storm surge. Now, this is a very different storm. We have a different location, and it's coming in off towards the east of here, at least as the forecast stands right now. So take note of the sky conditions where we are. Here's Bayou Teche, okay? There's downtown New Iberia. Population of about 30,000 folks. We're about 20 miles south of Lafayette, Louisiana, if you're familiar with Louisiana at a whole. And we're about 30 miles north of the Gulf of Mexico. Here's the deal, though. We've been fairly dry. We haven't really seen much rain at all today. Yesterday, it was sunny all over the place, right? Even driving in from New Orleans, we had sunshine abounding. There's a lot of dry air. I want to show you the water vapor and what we're dealing with, especially being on the west side of the circulation, where everybody else who's stationed for the storm is on the east side of the core, from Grand Isle to New Orleans into Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. So you're going to see very different conditions off towards the east than you are on the west of the center of the storm. So don't just focus on where the center goes. This is a very discombobulated storm, and most of the energy is going to be in those outer bands, not near the core, where we're going to have some of the worst weather. In fact, cities like the Gulf Coast of Florida may end up with some of the worst of the weather because of the tornado threat that we're already seeing there today. We've got a little bit of a shower coming in, but that's really been the case, guys. We are going to have thunderstorms through the rest of the afternoon. They'll be hit and miss, but going into tomorrow, we'll really start noticing an increase in those winds, Alex, and that's when we'll see the worst of the weather. But rainfall totals here on this side of Louisiana are going to be much lower than what we're seeing, say, towards Baton Rouge and certainly over to New Orleans and then Point East from there.
Yeah, really interesting how the rainfall totals cut off pretty sharply as you head towards places like Baton Rouge. Chris Bruin, thank you so much. We're going to be checking back in with Chris throughout the show. Want to walk you through, if you're just joining us, just wondering what the latest is on this storm, Cristobal, a tropical storm with winds at 50 miles an hour. But as Chris mentioned, this is very east-loaded, very lopsided storm, and a lot of the action has been focused on the eastern side of this system. So it will continue north. You can see a lot of sunshine over into parts of western Louisiana and places where Chris Bruin is. You saw how much sunshine he was dealing with. Again, our storm moving north, landfall probably coming by the time we get into late Sunday, early Monday. So it's going to be later tomorrow and into the early hours of Monday that the center of the storm makes landfall. But you take a look at where the cone is and you're going, okay, well, we've got Biloxi, we've got Mobile, we've got just about all of Florida. These areas are all going to see heavy rain, gusty winds, possibility of tornadoes because the system is so east loaded. So Dr. Nab, I think sometimes we get caught up in the cone. The flooding potential is going to extend well outside of that.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where we have to break our obsession with the cone and with the center and with landfall and all that, because this is a large system with tentacles spread out all across the Gulf of Mexico. Even southern and central Florida still in the mix here, and Louisiana's weather is going downhill. This is 400 miles across in terms of the extent of winds of tropical storm force, and the overall envelope is even larger than that. So we got to focus on the size here as being one of the big problems. Now, we got some nasty thunderstorms in a primary band that are about to come into Fort Myers and Sarasota and Tampa, but inland from there, we've had a lot of rain today in an even more far-flung outer band, and just southeast of Ocala and south along I-75 from there in Marion County, in the Bellevue area especially, they've had a lot of rain today and a lot very recently, and it's still coming down. Flash flood warning. This is a get off the roads warning, okay? And it's in effect till 8:45 local time. Routinely, we've been having hour after hour of an inch and a half per hour rainfall rates. And, you know, these areas here are getting pushing half a foot here along that one little corridor. That's what training outer rain bands can do. So that gives you a taste of what can happen in a place like New Orleans or Baton Rouge. Overnight tonight, you're going to start getting your first training rain bands. And that is just the beginning of what is probably going to be a 2-day onslaught of occasional training heavy rain bands. And so if you imagine an inch, 2-3 inches per hour in some of these downpours, it is going to add up, okay? And the global models are picking up on that. 8+ inches coming out of the European model. Now, this bullseye of the 8+ inches has been moving around. It was over New Orleans earlier runs. It's been back and forth. But this whole area is at risk for very significant rainfall. Somebody's going to get a foot of rain. I'm nearly convinced of that. GFS, similar pattern. And it goes inland from there. This is not just going to be a coastal event. We've got Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, going to get a lot of the moisture from the inbound moving low. So, Alex, we know that these are not just coastal events. We know that inland flooding kills, especially in cars. We just got to convince people to stay off the roads.
Yes, please, be smart, make good decisions as this storm comes through. Totally survivable storm. Should be just fine. We're going to have more updates coming up as our continuing coverage is back.
Need a nice reward today? Treat yourself to a Heath bar, because nothing says special like rich English toffee. Heath, it's English toffee.
Father's Day may only come once a year, but dads are always doing. This year, celebrate Dad with savings on all of his favorite things, all from his favorite place, the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
As a struggling actor, I need all the breaks that I can get. At Liberty Buchamug.
Cut.
Liberty Bibbity.
Cut. We'll dub it.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. DiGiorno has 7 delicious crusts, and your family food critics will rave. Rising Crust is fresh baked deliciousness. Stuffed Crust is literally mouth-watering. There's a 5-star pizza for everyone in your family to love. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
What overheated underwear feels like. What Duluth Armachillo underwear feels like. Duluth Trading Armachillo underwear. Put 'em on ice. Only at Duluth Trading.
Feel like getting back out there? Nissan is ready to help you with a bold, award-winning lineup. Kick off summer with no payments for 3 months. Plus, we'll cover your payments for up to 2 more months. Or get 0% financing on 13 models for up to 84 months. Shop at home at nissanusa.com.
Little choices make a big difference. Like delicious fruits and veggies. However you healthy. Naked.
Facing leaks takes strength. So here's to the strong who trust in our performance and comfortable, long-lasting protection. Because your strength is supported by ours. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
With Dish, you get the Hopper, TV's most powerful DVR. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once. Huh? Why so many?
See you in the morning. Okay, bye, Sounds great. Come here.
Because we know more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Record up to 16 shows at once. Dish, tuned in to you.
And welcome in, everyone. You are watching Weather Underground.
Both weekend days look great, Saturday and Sunday.
Get outside, enjoy, go for a bike ride, walk the dog. Why? Because it's going to be awesome.
Looks fantastic.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us on AMHQ.
Jim, Jen, and Steph all here with you to get you out the door, help you kick off a new week.
Can you get a better forecast than that?
I have never seen anything like that. Summer is just better when it starts with the Weather Channel.
Well, take a look at this time lapse. Love a good time lapse. Dauphin Island, Alabama, the clouds coming in, the swimmers going out. Not really in the water. Many of the beaches along the Gulf Coast, the water not allowed in it, but you can get out there on the beach, dip your toes in. Got to stay on the sand because it's been really dangerous in terms of rip currents. And, of course, you can see the beaches clear awfully quick when the rain showers move through. Expect much more of that as we head into our Sunday. We welcome you back into our continuing live team coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal. I am meteorologist Alex Wilson. We've got crews stretched out along the Gulf Coast monitoring conditions as the storm approaches. And, of course, here in-house, we have expert analysis you can only get here. Our hurricane expert, former director of the National Hurricane Center, Dr. Rick Knabb. Check in with him in just a minute. But I want to start with Chris Bruin. He is in New Iberia, Louisiana. Chris, we talked about the rainfall totals across the state of Louisiana. It really is all about where in the state you are because we think those are going to be cutting off the farther west you go.
Yeah, and it's going to be a drastic cutoff, Alex. Thanks for pointing that out. For people who live in Lafayette and here in New Iberia, certainly as you go over to Lake Charles and farther north from there, you're not going to be seeing a lot of rainfall. Yeah, we're going to have occasional thunderstorms, and they could put down a quick ½ to an inch, but they're not going to be as widespread as what we're going to see on the east side of the storm. So cities like New Orleans, we may end up with 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain compared to here where we may only end up with maybe 1 or 2 on the higher end. So it's really going to depend on where the storm is and where you are in retrospect to that core, because the bulk of this moisture is far east and removed from the center. That's why all the heaviest rain today has been in Florida. In fact, some of the totals we have seen off the Gulf Coast or are about to see are going to be very more impressive than what we're going to see here throughout the rest of today, at least for today. Again, we still have to get through the heart of Cristobal, and that's going to be tomorrow into Monday. Tomorrow night's really going to be go time, and that's going to allow storm surge issues for areas that are getting that onshore push. Because of where we are represented, we're not too concerned about storm surge. Our biggest threat will be the risk for some downed trees, some power lines, given the fact we could have winds over 50 miles per hour here in New Iberia, and also some heavier rainfall, so some ponding and localized flooding. But aside from that, we're going to fare by fairly nicely here in central and western Louisiana, so that's some good news. It's funny because Alex mentioned off the top, thunderstorms will clear a beach as quick as that. Well, Dr. Nab, they do the same for boaters. We just had a little shower, probably lasted about 2 minutes, and there were about 3 boats that just came in and loaded their boat off of the water to get out from the elements. But now the sun's coming back out. That's just the nature of these type of bands this early on as we see an approach to land.
Yeah, Chris, and those bands will get more and more frequent and more potent, so you're not going to have as many breaks, and once their break is over, it's going to be a little nastier with these successive bands. So it's when you go to bed tonight, when that sun goes down, you want to be off the roads and in your safe place in places like Louisiana and Mississippi for the duration of this big event. It's going to be a big storm that's going to last a long time, couple days of rain for some of you. Winds of tropical storm force, some 400 miles wide, and the center of action is way to the east of the center of circulation over Florida. Band of thunderstorms about to come into Fort Myers, Sarasota, Tampa, and we still got our flash flood warning here just east of Ocala in the Bellevue area where they've had nearly ½ a foot of rain. So if you don't think you can get 6 inches in New Orleans, they've been getting it in Florida, okay? So you could easily get more than that in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. In fact, some places in here could get a foot locally, a maximum. A lot of you are going to get several inches. Several of you probably will clear 6, 7, or 8 inches. Likely flash flooding tomorrow night into Monday morning. And the low, even when it's not tropical anymore, is going to bring a ton of moisture with this big system in through Arkansas and Missouri. Likely flash flooding Monday night into Tuesday morning. Jackson up to Little Rock, and a number of places have an inland flood threat that could be life-threatening if you are not careful and don't stay off the roads. Because of that big system, we've got a lot of wind. The buoys are starting to gust above 40 miles an hour just north of the center, close to the coast, gusting at 36. On land, Grand Isle is gusted to 36. New Orleans gusting to 26. Pensacola, Mobile stronger than 20. These are not tropical storm conditions yet. That'll happen late tonight into early tomorrow morning. And just to give you a flavor, this model might not have all the details right, but just to give you an idea, in New Orleans, it could gust 50, 60 miles an hour easily. And even with the center going, let's say it goes near over Baton Rouge like this, the European model gust forecast shows, Pensacola in Monday morning could still be gusting to tropical storm force. And those winds will extend a good distance inland, and we've got the tornado threat even extending into tomorrow, Alex.
Yeah, and you're running out of time to get your home ready before this storm moves on shore. So straight ahead, we're going to go over some last-minute preps you may want to do to just fortify your home and your yard ahead of Cristobal.
Add some resistance. Sarah, your Movie Plus trial is about to expire. Do you want to continue or cancel?
Capital One knows life doesn't update you about your credit card. So meet Eno, the Capital One assistant that looks out for charges that might surprise you and helps you fix them. Another way Capital One is watching out for your money when you're not. What's in your wallet?
Discover what's possible for summer at Lowe's.
We are the Thrivers. Women with metastatic breast cancer, standing in the struggle, hustling through the hurt, asking for science, not sorries. Our time for more time has come. Living longer is possible and proven in women taking Kisqali plus fulvestrant or a non-steroidal aromatase inhibitor. Kisqali is the only treatment in its class with proven overall survival results in 2 clinical trials, helping women live longer with HR-positive, HER2-negative metastatic breast cancer. Kisqali was also significantly more effective at delaying disease progression versus a non-steroidal aromatase inhibitor or fulvestrant alone. Kisqali can cause lung problems or an abnormal heartbeat, which can lead to death. It can cause serious liver problems and low white blood cell counts that may result in severe infections. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including breathing problems, cough, chest pain, a change in your heartbeat, dizziness, yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, tiredness, loss of appetite, abdomen pain, bleeding, bruising, fever, chills, or other symptoms of an infection, are or plan to become pregnant or breastfeeding. Avoid grapefruit during treatment. Kisqali is not approved for use with tamoxifen. It's our time to continue to shine because we are the Thrivers. Ask your doctor about Kisqali, the only treatment in its class proven to help women live longer in 2 clinical trials.
We all know someone who brings us joy when we need it most. Through smiles, laughter, and the totally unexpected. At Lay's, we call them joy givers, and we're here to celebrate them. So help us find the joy givers in your community. They're everywhere, and they're everything we need right now. Share their stories using #JoyGivers. For every post, Lay's will donate $50 to Feeding America, up to $1 million.
I just love hitting the open road and telling people that Liberty Mutual customizes your insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Oh, this is gonna hit town!
Inside the storm. Every second counts. Deadline to disaster next Sunday night on the Weather Channel.
Our extended live coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal continues right now. Let's get caught up on what we know. We expect the storm to make landfall as a high-end tropical storm along the Louisiana coastline late Sunday and into Monday. That's prompted mandatory evacuations for Terrebonne Parish in Zone 1 there. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards has already declared a state of emergency ahead of Cristobal's arrival. Well, we welcome you back in. I want to show you exactly what we don't want to see, people getting into the water. I know you think those breaks in the storms gives you the opportunity, but you can see we got rough, high surf. We've got really dangerous rip currents. This swimmer able to get herself out safely, but you know, anytime you get in the water, you're at risk, the lifeguard's at risk, and you know, at those non-guarded beaches especially, you want to stay near the lifeguards even after this storm moves through, because this is a threat that could continue even when the weather turns nicer. That threat in the water, the rip currents, already we've seen so many people lose their lives because of the rip currents, so we want to prevent that. I know it's that time of year when a lot of us are at the beaches. We look at the current wave heights. You can see beginning to get closer, some of those more significant wave heights to the Gulf Coast. Our strongest winds focused on the east side of the storm, well away from the center of circulation. This is a very large storm, a broad storm. So the winds well outside of that cone. So I don't want you to get caught up on the cone and think, I'm not in it, I don't have problems. You're still going to get the rain. You're still going to get some gusty winds. And with that large system, that onshore push will be significant from, say, eastern Louisiana all the way into Florida Panhandle. You're going to be looking at that onshore push, and for some, that's going to coincide with the high tide tomorrow. So coastal flooding, again, dangerous rip currents will be an issue. We look at our storm surge potential, 1 to 3 feet for a lot of the Gulf Coast, our potential. We look at areas from Mississippi into eastern Louisiana, 3 to 5 feet. So that would be where our greatest storm surge is expected. Down towards places like Grand Isle, 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. And the rip current danger, again, highest along the Gulf Coast into the Big Bend, but still a moderate risk well away from the storm, Tampa to Fort Myers. Again, I know a lot of you are at the beaches this week or heading to the beaches. Make sure you stay on those guarded beaches. Listen to the lifeguards. Apalachicola, again, you got that onshore push, and then you've got high tide close to 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. So that's a time I want you to watch. Dauphin Island, Alabama. It's late Sunday morning, closer to the lunchtime hours that we see high tide. And again, with that onshore push, that could exacerbate our water rise. There are things, though, that we could be doing right now, Dr. Nab. Some last-minute preparations. Get your home, your yard prepared. Again, this is not, we're not talking about, a storm that you really need to be worried about, but there are little things you can do to just get everything a little bit more organized.
Yeah, this is a very survivable storm. Mainly, we stay out of the water to keep ourselves safe, and that keeps responders like lifeguards and swiftwater rescue teams from having to come get us, right? So stay out of the water. We've got not just the coastal flooding that Alex is talking about, but the inland flooding, likely in places like New Orleans and Biloxi, up into Jackson and Little Rock. And so there are things you can be doing to prepare for the possibility of flooding. Sandbags are one good option. You need to get some, fill them up halfway, and stack them around your property. That can be very useful to stack them 2 or 3 high so that you can prevent 1, 2, 3 feet of flooding from getting into your home. This is not going to stop a 5-foot storm surge with waves, but you stack them up in a pyramid against the building. You can stack them up even higher, fill them up halfway, fold them over, and you make yourself a little temporary wall. So that's one way to lessen the impacts of flooding around your home if water's encroaching onto your property. You want to clear leaves and other debris from your gutters so that water drains properly. You also want to put any valuables and important documents in a waterproof container and then put that up as high as you can in your house. You might need those documents and you want to preserve those valuables. And then raise computers, other electronics, furniture as high as you can in your home if water is approaching. And if you're in a very flood-prone area, you could do that now. If you're in those high-risk zones that we talked about that could get the flooding, take some photos and video of the interior of your home in case you need to file an insurance claim, and make some off-site data backups in case any of your devices fail or are flooded or something happens to them in the storm. Also, we want to get things out of the yard. Anything that could fly around, anything loose, bring it inside. Grills, cooking equipment, plants, planters, tools, pool equipment if you have that. And if you have a lot of rocks around your property, if you could go scoop those up, maybe put some that mulch down instead, there wouldn't be such flying debris. That's a good thing to do. Those tools can become projectiles. It's not so much the strength of the wind, it's what's flying around in the wind. Even tropical storm force winds can be damaging or even deadly. Bring in that patio furniture as well. Those are things you can do at the last minute to prevent damage outside. Now, we are probably going to see some power outages in some places, and that means stores won't be open if their power is out. If you have an important prescription that you need filled, fill it tonight. Get important over-the-counter medications, get cash at the ATM. They won't work in a power outage. Get batteries, a portable cell phone charger, and fully charge all your devices before the storm. Alex, these power outages can be surprisingly annoying and even dangerous or even deadly if you don't run those generators far from your home.
Yeah, a lot of times we hear about generator incidents or candles. So gather the flashlights now. Make sure you've got safe ways to keep the lights on and keep the power going. Well, we're going to take you back live along the Gulf Coast as our continuing coverage returns after the break.
Introducing new Voltaren Arthritis Pain Gel, the first and only full prescription strength, non-steroidal, anti-inflammatory gel available over the counter. New Voltaren is powerful arthritis pain relief in a gel. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Constant hand washing causes hands to dry and crack. Try O'Keeffe's Working Hands. It's America's #1 hand cream for guaranteed relief of dry, cracked hands. Also available in O'Keeffe's for healthy feet. Guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked feet.
Meet Function of Beauty, the custom shampoo the internet can't stop talking about.
Love the formulas. My curls are on fire.
This is the first time I've worn my hair naturally in years.
This has literally saved my hair.
It was a hair-changing experience.
One-of-a-kind formulas created just for you. Just take the quiz. Choose your hair goals, scent, and color, and find out why Function of Beauty is the internet's #1 custom hair care brand. Get 10% off your first custom formula at functionofbeauty.com.
At Physicians Mutual, we know that planning for retirement can feel scary.
I see you're about to turn 65.
You know what that means.
Medicare. It doesn't cover dental. What high bills you'll have.
Actually, we're getting a Physicians Mutual.
Oh, great. She'll be covered.
Retire with confidence. We'll listen and find you the coverage you need.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
Our 12-step process provides 100% pure quality water. Look for kids packs from Nestle Pure Life. Fun designs and a perfect size just for your kids.
Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. No, really. Those are the actual ingredients. Tostitos. Get to the good stuff.
You're ready to drive again, and not just to the neighborhood store. In a new Honda, you can enjoy the open road with powerful performance. And your money can go farther too, because Honda holds its value better than any other auto brand. Your Honda dealer is offering flexibility, like shopping online, so you can purchase with confidence. Get your new Honda today. KBB.com's 2020 Best Value Brand.
This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by attorney Andrew Van Arsdale. For decades, the Boy Scouts of America admitted thousands of child molesters into their scouting ranks, enabling countless acts of sexual abuse to occur against innocent children. And now, instead of attempting to right the horrific wrongs of the past, the Boy Scouts of America recently filed bankruptcy as a last-ditch effort to avoid any accountability for the massive cover-up they perpetuated, and in doing so, deny justice for all those who were abused under their watch. If you were abused as a member of the Boy Scouts, your time to act is quickly running out. Bankruptcy filings allow for a limited window to take action. Act now before it's too late. Once the court's claim submission period ends, your opportunity to seek justice will be lost forever. Call Abused in Scouting for a free confidential consultation. The Boy Scouts of America may think they can get away with it. Don't let them. Hold them accountable for their failure to protect innocent children.
Call 800-749-0789.
So like anything I've ever seen before.
It almost looks like the mothership has landed.
That is so strange.
This looks apocalyptic.
This just seems unnatural to me. I cannot think of anything that would be more terrifying than that.
Whoever said our planet had to explain itself.
The Earth will do what it does.
Explore the strange phenomena of our weird Earth. Premiering next Sunday at 9, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 85 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Low 64. Sunday, sunshine. High 78. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday night, a few clouds. Low 61. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
And welcome back into continuing live coverage here of Tropical Storm Cristobal off of the Gulf Coast. We're live in New Iberia, Louisiana, where it's been relatively not a bad summer afternoon. We've had a lot of sunshine. We've had a few passing showers, very brief, but we have had a few passing showers, and that's really been the extent of the weather here. It's been hot, it's been humid, but the extra breeze is starting to pick up just a little bit as the core of Cristobal starts to move closer to shore, is helping to take an edge off of that extreme Louisiana heat that we have here. Briefly though, let's show you the sky conditions. We've got some blue sky. You got a few thunderstorms off in the distance, but people are still out and about trying to make the most of their Saturday. We even had family photos going on by the beautiful live oaks that we have here around New Iberia. That's the situation in central Louisiana. Let's jump over towards our east into our neighboring state, Mississippi. That's where we find our own meteorologist, Felicia Combs. Felicia, what's the latest there? Have you seen much sunshine or are you dealing with more gray stratus layer clouds and scattered thunderstorms?
Well, so far, Chris, yeah, we've certainly had quite a bit more cloud cover than, say, yesterday. Yesterday was a lot like you were describing today. Lots of sunshine, really beautiful day. A lot of people getting out there and enjoying it. Now, we've got a break in the rain right now. The wind is a bit breezy. There is quite a bit of rain offshore, and that has really been kind of the story here as we look off toward the Gulf. There you can see some of the darker rain clouds. But, man, earlier here, it rained hard, and it was gusty. We have some video of that rain from earlier here in Biloxi, and man, it was rough. I can tell you, it came in quickly and it lasted for quite some time. Very heavy rain coming down, rain blowing around. If you were stuck in that, then you were certainly dealing with reduced visibility if you happen to be driving, ponding on the roads. But right now we've got a break, and we're expecting things to continue to deteriorate here as we head into Saturday night and certainly into Sunday. Another place that's going to continue to see those conditions deteriorating, that's a little bit farther west in Grand Isle, Louisiana, where we find our own Mike Seidel. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Felicia, good afternoon once again, and the winds continue to slowly ramp up. In fact, just west-southwest of here, Port Fourchon, about 15 miles away, has now gusted to 38 miles an hour. You can see the sand blowing by me on the beach. We continue to have this very light rainfall. Now, off the coast, we do have some heavier squalls down towards the Venice area, where the mouth of the Mississippi comes out, and they're eventually going to rotate in. No doubt we're going to have some heavier rain squalls later on this evening, but right now, look at that. We got a little sun coming through this stratus overcast. Some temperatures stay in the upper 70s. It's warm, it's muggy, but the breeze is nice, as Chris mentioned, back inland in New Iberia. Tropical storm warning, storm surge watch. Water still running about 1.5 feet above where it should be. Those numbers may get as high as 2, 3, maybe 4 feet. And Dr. Nab, the high tide tomorrow morning, late morning, is the key high tide. Although the winds are still going to be pretty fresh onshore into Monday from the south, the real high tide of concern will be late morning.
Absolutely. When you line up the onshore push and the high tide, you've got problems at the coast. That's why you got the storm surge warning in that location. But we've got a lot of problems over a large area. This is a large system. The max winds are at 50 miles an hour, but the winds of tropical storm force extend over an entire width of about 400 miles from southwest to northeast along its widest berth. But the center of action with the weather has really been in Florida today with that far-flung band. Now, we do have the NOAA hurricane hunters out there. They took off from Lakeland, Florida, got out before the weather really got bad there, right? But they've come in from the north, and now they're in the southeast quadrant. And in that southeastern quadrant, they're getting some winds on that SFMR instrument that sits on the underbelly of the wing, looks down at the ocean surface, and it estimates surface wind speeds. It's getting closer persistently to around 55 miles an hour. So we'll have to, the hurricane specialists at the Hurricane Center will have to digest that data, see if it's valid, and maybe the winds are going to come up a little bit. But that's what they're forecasting, right? They're forecasting this to be a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm at some point before it comes ashore. But that's just the maximum sustained winds. Again, it's going to be wide berth. This is going to be kind of the path of the system. It's not just within that cone. And then this path is going to take a large low, bringing a lot of moisture, a lot of rainfall well inland up into places like Iowa, Minnesota. But my gosh, look at all those isobars. This is a lot of wind that is on the northeastern side of it, gusting to 36 miles an hour on a buoy just offshore, gusting to 38 just north of the center, gusting to 38 at Grand Isle, 26 at New Orleans, 20 plus in Mobile and Pensacola. And the global models have a decent handle, we think, on the overall sense of things. Look at this. We could gusting to 50 or 60 miles an hour in New Orleans sometime tomorrow. And even when it's over Baton Rouge, Alex, you could still be gusting to 40 way over in Pensacola. Big wind field.
Yeah, big wind field indeed. A lot going on with this storm, so we've got continued coverage for you here on the Weather Channel. We'll be with you all weekend, bringing you up-to-the-minute developments on this storm and, of course, live coverage from the field.
For every staircase supporting a grand entrance, door frames marking milestones, and floors kissed by bare feet. Protect the pure joy of home with Terminix. We're committed to keeping termites out of your home with our all-new On Guard termite protection system. Always backed by the Terminix promise to keep your home strong enough for all the love it holds. Call 1-800-TERMINX today.
The road is calling, and now you'll be able to answer. Because at Cadillac, we're committed to keeping you moving by giving you the option to shop online and take delivery at home where available. And if your vehicle needs service, our certified service experts are ready to help. Schedule your appointment at Cadillac.com. Cadillac, we have your back. Current eligible lessees get this low mileage lease on this 2020 Cadillac XT6 for around $499 per month. Visit Cadillac.com for assistance.
If spending more time with your floor has been hard on your floor, it's not that hard to change it with the Home Depot. Just figure out how much you need, order the exact style you want online, and get it delivered, and install it with the help of our installation guide. Make your flooring life-proof. Make it waterproof. And a lot better to spend time with. Save on top flooring brands like Lifeproof and Pergo on HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and I wish I could tell you how I feel about a morning like this. And that includes a good hearty breakfast. You need something to kind of warm the whole body up and get it going. It's a great way to kick off your day.
Ta-da! Did you know Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need?
I should get a quote.
Do it.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I wanted more from my COPD medicine. That's why I've got the power of 1, 2, 3 medicines with Trelegy.
The only FDA-approved once daily 3-in-1 COPD treatment.
Trelegy, the power of 1, 2, 3. Trelegy, 1, 2, 3. Trelegy.
With Trelegy and the power of 1, 2, 3, I'm breathing better. Trelegy works 3 ways to open airways, keep them open, and reduce inflammation for 24 hours of better breathing.
Trelegy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Trelegy is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trelegy more than prescribed. Trelegy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
Think your COPD medicine is doing enough? Maybe you should think again.
Ask your doctor about once daily Trelegy. We know times are hard, and we're here for you. Find support at Trelegy.com.
Welcome back into our special live coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal. Gulf Coast states bracing for landfall within the next 24 to 36 hours. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson. We've got live team coverage along the Gulf Coast and here in studio. Our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb, with us, along with Chris Bruin, meteorologist for Alicia Combs, and Mike Seidel. They are scattered along the Gulf Coast. We'll get out to them in just a moment. But Dr. Knabb, let's start with what the very latest is with this storm. It's a large storm, so we're already beginning to feel the effects.
Yeah, we've got a lot of bad weather in Florida, especially central to northern Florida. We've had tornado warnings, and we've still got some very heavy rainfall. Got a flash flood warning I'll share with you in just a little bit. So here's the center of circulation, but weather-wise, this has been the center of action, this big band way off to the east, but there's a lot of wind and a lot of weather to come that's in between. And the winds of tropical storm force from southwest to northeast extend about 400 miles. So this is a large system, even though the center of circulation is still way way off to the south. Conditions deteriorating on the northern Gulf Coast as tonight goes on. The visible imagery shows how you can see the exposed low-level swirl, but there's some thunderstorms perking up at times near the center. But even in the dry slot, there is some strong wind. Okay, now here's that band that extends from western Cuba all the way up through Tampa, and then there's some bands even in advance of that continue to plague the area just east of Ocala. That's kind of where we've had some tornado warnings just along the east of I-75, and we still have a flash flood warning in Bellevue, Florida, in Marion County until 8:45 local time. Locally, near half a foot of rainfall in this area, and there's still more on the way. This is what the outer bands of a storm like this can do, cause big-time flooding way away from the center. Now, as the bands on the northern side start to come ashore more frequently on the northern Gulf Coast, tomorrow night into Monday morning, this is the area where flash flooding is likely, especially Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Pascagoula, Biloxi, up getting close to Jackson when we talk about Monday, and then that will extend northward into places like Little Rock, with a flood risk going up into Missouri, even Illinois. The rainfall totals, we can't pinpoint who's going to get exactly what, but the potential is there for somebody isolated to get a foot of rain. And when you consider that in Florida here we've had a half a foot today, it's not out of the question at all with a 2-day duration of an event to get 8 to 12 inches locally. That model depiction of nearly a foot has been bouncing around. Sometimes it's been over New Orleans. We don't know who's going to get the worst, but the threat is there in both of the models with a lot of rainfall, eastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, but then it's not over. You take this big low, you move it northward through the Mississippi Valley. We're going to get 5 to 8 inches locally along a corridor somewhere there in Arkansas, Missouri, up into Iowa, as a lot of moisture is flung up through the Mississippi Valley. These systems don't just go away when they make landfall. That's just the beginning. Now, we do have hurricane hunters out there. The NOAA plane has been getting winds closer to maybe 55 miles an hour on their instrument that can estimate surface wind speed. So maybe at the intermediate public advisory, depending on what the Hurricane Center does, this might go up, but they're forecasting it to go up. By tomorrow evening, we have a tropical storm, maybe around 60 miles an hour maximum winds. But Alex, we've been saying it over and over again, not just inside, but way outside the cone, not just coastal, but inland as well.
Yeah, but this is one that's going to be, as we said, entirely survivable. You just got to be smart with this one.
Mainly staying out of the water, whatever kind.
Absolutely. And water could extend well away from this. We're going to break down the flood threat in just a minute, but I want to get you closer to the coast, Louisiana coast in particular. Storm surge an issue. Of course, the flooding rainfall there as well. Meteorologist Mike Seidel is in Grand Isle. Mike, a lot of threats on the table for you. You've seen the winds pick up, again, the push of salt water, and then the freshwater flooding too.
Yeah, we have seen the water try to go out, but it can't because the wind is blowing onshore or just a little off from the onshore direction, and that is piling the water up. So as a result, even though we're heading towards low tide this evening, we're seeing most of the beach underwater. Now look at the surf off the coast. Boy, these are some big waves. We're talking wave heights running as much as 10 feet. I checked the buoy off the coast, and it's 9.8 feet. And as far as the wind goes, winds off the coast have already gusted as high as 51 miles an hour. So we're getting up there, but here on the land, peak wind gusts have only been about 38 miles an hour. That's about 15 miles away. So we're going to be watching the water continue to rise. High tide tomorrow morning at 10:55 is the tide of concern because we're going to have the push of the water along with the high tide, and there is a storm surge watch here. Water levels could be anywhere from 2 to 4 feet above average right now. Last time I checked, the water is about 1.6 feet higher than it should be. But in the meantime, the wind will continue to ramp up. We've got squalls. Look at the radar now. The squalls that we're watching that could impact us here in a couple of hours are well off to our south and east. They're going to come in here this evening, and that's when we get those rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches. And with those squalls, we will easily have tropical storm force wind gusts. The island, pretty good shape right now. The beachfront properties here are behind this large area of sea oats and grass, and then there's a berm. There's a levee. You can see it goes up about 10 feet. So that's going to keep the water out of these buildings and off most of Louisiana US 1. But they've got pumps, 8 pumps up and running to pump the water out once the wind backs off. It's going to take a while. In fact, we talked to the mayor earlier. It may take as much as 3 days to get all the water out of all the areas, especially on the other side of the island. Let's go back inland now, well west of New Orleans. Not worried about surge there, Chris Bruin, but more about the inland flood threat. And there is a flood watch up into Tuesday.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see, and this is what we do at the Weather Channel. We want to show you all aspects of the storm. So it's not just the center. You're going to see far-reaching effects, especially east of the center, but also on the west side. What does a tropical system look like in all of its, entirety? Well, we do our best to spread out to show you different locations and what it actually looks like. We're here in New Iberia, Louisiana. It's about 20 miles south of Lafayette. So that's kind of the major city here in central Louisiana. We're not too concerned with Cristobal. We know we are going to have thunderstorms. We know we're going to have gusty winds, nothing we can't handle. But because of our positioning to where the center of the storm is going to be, that's really going to help us out, especially when it comes to storm surge and even rainfall. We'll have rain, but not as much as what we'll see farther east. There's a look at the weather conditions. Partly cloudy skies. We've had a couple of brief showers, not even real thunderstorms, but we'll see more of this as we go through the overnight. Tomorrow will be much more cloudy, and also winds will start picking up. We drove down to the coast, and if you're not familiar with Louisiana, it's not like what you think of when you think of Florida Gulf Coast. There's not a lot of sandy beaches. You have a lot of sugarcane fields, a lot of marshland and bayous. It's very swampy. So there's a few little beach towns where people like to reside. We went to Sippermore Point. That's about 20 miles to our south. And we talked to a longtime resident. He's the local icon here, Don Moe. And he's lived there nearly 16 years and has been on the Gulf Coast.
We can do it our eyes closed. We're so used to hurricane prep. And then, like if I'm through, it's a close-knit coastal community. When I'm through, hey, my neighbor across the street, you need some help? Hey, can you come help me with this? So, sir, yesterday I helped 2 guys pull out some big offshore boats and put them on the trailers just in case. So, everybody helps everybody. So it's kind of cool.
Love that mentality here, and that's just one of many communities on the Louisiana Gulf Coast. This is part of their life. They're used to storms coming through. With this storm in particular, we notice a lot of people kind of clearing out the lower level of their home. All the homes, by the way, especially on the water or near low-lying areas, they're elevated, and they need to be about 13 to 14 feet high. That's the code. And it's interesting, throughout the show, Alex, we're going to get to hear a lot of little segments from Don Moe. He had a whole hurricane marker. Rita was taller than my head, and that was the notorious storm here for this part of the state. Thankfully, Cristobal is not going to be anything like Rita, certainly here in this part of Louisiana. But it's just interesting, so many factors on how insurance goes compared to the guidelines. And if your home is higher than that, you get better insurance rates. If it's lower than that, you have higher insurance for every foot below those guidelines. So it's very interesting, the way of life here on the Gulf Coast of Louisiana.
Well, it's funny, like a true hurricane expert, Dr. Knapp picked up on that. He said, I love the surge markers on that sign next to him. So I'm excited we get to learn a little bit more about that. Chris Bruin, thank you so much. I want to head to the east of where Chris is. Again, he's just to the south of Lafayette, Louisiana. Felicia Combs, our meteorologist, is in Biloxi, Mississippi. Felicia, been there a few times for storm coverage. It's a great community, a real hot spot this time of year, but obviously the weather less than ideal for, a trip to Biloxi, maybe hanging out inside the casinos.
Yeah, Alex, and it's so crazy that you would say that, because that is exactly what we were just talking about. Yesterday we talked with the mayor, and he said, things are starting to get kind of back into swing, and then here we come with this tropical system that's kind of putting a damper on the weekend. So Biloxi truly is a water city. Behind me, you'll see some of the boats, some pleasure boats, some charter boats as well. We spoke with one charter boat owner who said they were kind of trying to get things back into swing, and then of course this is coming, dealing with the pandemic, and then on top of this tropical tropical system. Not just pleasure boats, though. This is also, we should have had the blessing of the fleet this weekend for the shrimping boats and the fishing boats. We should be kicking off the shrimping season. That's not happening, so that's another thing that's being impacted by Cristobal this weekend. And then we've also got, as you mentioned, Alex, this is a playground. They call it the playground of the South. You're looking at those purple windows. You might recognize them. You might not. That's the Hard Rock there. And we've spoken to some people who were there, and they're kind of hanging out there, and they said there are quite a bit of people there, but of course they're stuck inside the casinos at this point because, you know, the weather has not been that great. Now, right now we're getting a bit of a break in the rain, and that's the good news, but things are really going to begin to deteriorate here in Biloxi as we head through the night tonight and into your Sunday. The current radar, you can see we've got quite a bit of rain just offshore, but the break that we're getting right now isn't going to continue to last. We had heavy rain earlier, so we got a little bit of a taste of it earlier. Not just that, though, but the winds are going to continue to pick up. We could see tropical storm force winds, hence the tropical storm warning. Right now, sustained winds above 10 miles per hour. We're going to continue to see those picking up. And then, of course, not just the rain flooding a possibility, but storm surge also a danger here for Biloxi because there's just so much water around. Guys.
All right, thank you, Felicia. Yeah, the Mississippi coast has a lot to contend with, not just the storm surge, but the heavy rainfall and some strong winds. You're under storm surge warning, tropical storm warning, flash flood watch. You get the picture. Big storm like this is starting to cause the conditions to deteriorate on the northern Gulf Coast. The winds are picking up. The buoy just offshore there, gusting to 36, gusting to 45 at the buoy just north of the center. So those strong winds are coming, and they occupy a large area. So once it starts, it's going to last a long time. These are not tropical storm conditions, but gusting near 30 miles an hour at Grand Isle and New Orleans. That's a taste of things to come. We've had gusts up to 30 at Pensacola. And look at that wind that's blowing toward the west. That is going to pile up the water there in that shape of the coastline where southeast Louisiana meets the Mississippi coast. That's going to be the catcher's mitt that's going to capture all of that salt water. That's why we got the storm surge warning in that particular area. It includes Biloxi and Gulfport and Long Beach and past Christiana and Waveland, and it's outside the risk reduction system in New Orleans. City of New Orleans not in that warning. Now, these values are roughly an idea of how high the salt water is above normally dry ground near the coast. The values are really small right now because we're going into low tide, but that's going to change tomorrow morning. Late tonight is low tide. Late tomorrow morning is high tide. That is when we could have a combination of the onshore push being strongest when the storm is just to our south and the high tide. So 3 to 5 feet above normally dry ground is the storm surge flooding that's expected somewhere in that area between the mouth of the Mississippi River and the Biloxi area. Now, I wanted to highlight a historical fact that should give you concern on the Mississippi coast. When Tropical Storm Isidore made landfall in 2002 in this same general area as a tropical storm of about the strength that Cristobal was forecast to be, and it was a large system that had spent some time over Yucatan, there was a storm surge fatality on the coast of Mississippi, someone in a parking lot near a casino in their car, and they died in the storm surge. We mean business here. This can be life-threatening. Don't let history repeat itself. And again, tomorrow morning is when the high tide in places like Dauphin Island and Grand Isle are going to be maximized. And when you look at what's the storm going to be doing late tomorrow morning? It could be just to the south, and that's when the onshore push is going to be maximized. So late tomorrow morning, that's the real danger time. But you got to get out of these danger areas tonight because the winds of tropical storm force will be arriving tonight, and you want to be in your safe place and out of those storm surge prone locations before you go to bed tonight. And by the way, this coastal problem, Alex, isn't just the storm surge, it's the high rip current risk at the beaches that will last all the way into Sunday, even Monday. So salt water is a problem. Yeah. Fresh water is a problem. It's not just about the wind.
Yeah, and I don't want you to be at one of those Tampa beaches, see things clear out, and think Monday, all right, let's all get in and swim, because there could still be some issues. Speaking of Tampa, what do you say we look at the future radar around the city, because heavy rain will continue for you as we head into the overnight and throughout the day tomorrow. It'll be off and on, but when you get those rain showers, they could be coming down in buckets. That's why the flood risk extends along the Gulf Coast into Florida and actually well inland. We'll break that down as our coverage continues next.
Hey, take a Bud Light Seltzer.
Yeah, sure thing.
What's this?
It's Bud Light Seltzer Mango.
Sip initiated.
Shall we like it?
Commencing happy face.
Oh, too much.
Bud Light Seltzer, available for delivery.
I like Liberty Mutual. They get that no two people are alike. And customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. What do you think?
I don't see it. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Our Hillshire Farm craftsmen start the day slow roasting turkey for incredible flavor. Then they double seal every slice for freshness. The results? Well, they speak for themselves.
Domino's is serious about food safety. That's why your pizza stays untouched after baking at 450 degrees. And now that every delivery is contactless, you can safely mix and match any two or more for just $5.99 each when you sit around the table, even if it's not the same table.
We all know someone who brings us joy when we need it most. Through smiles, laughter, and the totally unexpected. At Lay's, we call them joy givers, and we're here to celebrate them. So help us find the joy givers in your community. They're everywhere, and they're everything we need right now. Share their stories using #JoyGivers. For every post, Lay's will donate $50 to Feeding America, up to $1 million.
A migraine hope from Aimovig to show up for the sweet, the hectic, the tender, the tense, the frustrating, and the fiery. But for many, migraine keeps them from saying, I am here. We aim to change that with Aimovig, a preventive treatment for migraine in adults. One dose once a month is proven to reduce monthly migraine days, for some by half or more. Don't take Aimovig if you're allergic to it. Allergic reactions like rash or swelling can happen hours to days after use. Severe constipation can happen, sometimes with serious complications. Common side effects include injection site reactions and constipation. It doesn't matter what each day brings, so long as you can say, I am here. Aim to be there more. Talk to your doctor about Aimovig.
Discover what's possible for summer at Lowe's.
Our 12-step process provides 100% pure quality water. Look for kids packs from Nestle Pure Life. Fun designs and a perfect size just for your kids.
This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by attorney Andrew Van Arsdale. For decades, the Boy Scouts of America admitted thousands of child molesters into their scouting ranks, enabling countless acts of sexual abuse to occur against innocent children. And now, instead of attempting to right the horrific wrongs of the past, the Boy Scouts of America recently filed bankruptcy as a last-ditch effort to avoid any accountability for the massive cover-up they perpetuated, and in doing so, deny justice for all those who were abused under their watch. If you were abused as a member of the Boy Scouts, your time to act is quickly running out. Bankruptcy filings allow for a limited window to take action. Act now before it's too late. Once the court's claim submission period ends, your opportunity to seek justice will be lost forever. Call Abused in Scouting for a free confidential consultation. The Boy Scouts of America may think they can get away with it. Don't let them. Hold them accountable for their failure to protect innocent children.
Call 800-749-0789.
Almost cloud-free at this point.
Plus, it's not cold at all.
We're drying out and even warming up. We love it that way.
Better days start with the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 85 degrees under partly cloudy skies with windy conditions. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 64. Winds northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Sunday, mostly sunny skies, high 78. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday night, partly cloudy, low 61. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Well, an early, busy start for the hurricane hunters. Season kicked off, Monday, June 1st? Hasn't even been a week. And we've got a tropical storm. They have been out there flying through it. You're looking at that flight over the Gulf of Mexico. They're getting really important information, gives the forecasters everything they need to know as far as the data with this storm so they can make the most accurate forecast. So they're doing really important work. Hats off to those hurricane hunters, the guys and gals getting out into the storm. Right now, we're looking at a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm. This is Cristobal. We've got pressure of 994 millibars. This is moving north, 12 miles per hour. You can see very east loaded. We have seen rain. We have seen water spouts. We have seen storms, even tornado warnings as far east as the Orlando, Florida area today. So a lot of rainfall likely from Florida all the way over into parts of Louisiana, and that will also extend inland. So I don't want you to look at this thing and go, I'm not on the coast, I'm not in the cone, I don't have any problems. That's not the case because this is such a large system with a lot of action on the east side. Here is that cone, but again, this is the center of circulation and where it will go. It does not mean if you're outside of this, say Mobile or Biloxi, that you're not going to see anything. In fact, you could still be dealing with surge, strong winds, and very, very heavy rainfall rates. You can see the track takes this thing into northern Louisiana, into Arkansas, and then Dr. Nab, parts of the Midwest. So there's going to be a flood threat, not just along the coast, but we're talking like Wisconsin, and people in Wisconsin are going, whoa, me and a tropical system? This could really bring problems.
Yeah, big system like that going inland, It's not just going to go away, and it's going to bring all of its moisture northward, and it's going to be a two-day event for some of you from start to finish when you consider that the Louisiana coastline starting to rain now, and it's going to take into Monday before that ends. It's very northeast loaded right now, but you're getting some thunderstorms perking up near the center too. So it's not like there's nothing going on near the center, but most of the action on land today has been in Florida, and you've got some thunderstorms coming in a band just north of Fort Myers going up through Tampa, and we've got a flash flood warning still in effect in Bellevue, Florida, southeast of Ocala. This is in effect till 8:45 local time. It has been training this main band right between Leesburg and Ocala. Last hour, more than 2 inches of rain east of Ocala. Last 6 hours, we're getting a little bullseye there of about 6 inches. So it's been raining an inch an hour on average for 6 hours. So if you don't believe these 6 to 12 inch rainfall forecasts for Louisiana and Mississippi, why not when you see what happens in Florida? Now, if this model is right and that northern side really starts to perk up tonight, then it'll start raining heavily overnight tonight in New Orleans and coastal Mississippi, and eventually tomorrow late morning maybe in Baton Rouge, and you'll have multiple rounds of training thunderstorms, and that's just the north side. Then you get landfall the center, and then you might have some more on the south and southeast side as this moves on by. So when you count all the raindrops, there are going to be a whole heck of a lot of them, right? We just don't know exactly who's going to get the highest totals. Somebody could get isolated numbers up to about a foot of rain, and the model has been jumping around on where that occurs, but Baton Rouge, New Orleans at risk, all the southern coastal counties in Mississippi at risk, Mobile is at risk, Jackson, Mississippi certainly, and that's just the southern end of all of this. As Alex was mentioning, this is all going to be headed inland through Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Wisconsin, eastern Minnesota is going to get some of the moisture, at least indirectly related to this, and 5 to 8 inches of rain in some spots is within the realm of possibility. Now, let's time this out. Who's at risk for flooding? Because that's what really matters with the rainfall. Tonight into tomorrow morning, northern portions of the Florida Peninsula and along the Panhandle coast starting to get into coastal Louisiana, Mississippi, but tomorrow night into Monday morning is probably the biggest risk time for New Orleans and Baton Rouge. And then Monday night, Tuesday morning, Jackson, Mississippi, up through Little Rock. Don't drive your car onto any water-covered road. We don't want to lose people in this system, Alex.
Yeah, I think, a lot of the threats we talk about are very preventable. It's things like rip currents. It's things like flash flooding. So make smart decisions.
Yeah, and anytime you get in the water, whether it's the ocean or a flooded road, you are putting yourself at risk, and then as we saw in the rip current, you're making somebody come and get you.
Right.
And that happens inland too.
Yeah, so we want to keep everybody safe through this. This is something we can all get ourselves through. Out west, we've got severe weather, so we take a little bit of a timeout from Cristobal, and we take you to Cheyenne, Wyoming. So you're like, wait a second, I'm in this. No, you're not. You've got a whole different ball game to deal with, and that is severe weather. We've got a line of severe thunderstorms from Colorado into Wyoming, portions of Nebraska and South Dakota getting in on this as well. So you can see nearly a continuous line of severe thunderstorm warnings from the Montana-Wyoming state line down into parts of southeastern Colorado. There is a little break in between there into southeastern parts of Wyoming. Tons of lightning, gusty winds in excess of 60 miles an hour with these. I want you to be aware of that threat. Severe thunderstorm watch continues for many of these locations until 8 o'clock local time. This includes locations like Denver, like western Nebraska, western South Dakota. You can see it really is more portions of Nebraska and South Dakota that we're watching moving forward. So less a Wyoming, Colorado threat. Winds will be the main threat out of these storms, and we've got high wind warnings out there as well through parts of the high plains. Let's get you back into the southeast. A new tornado warning again in the Orlando area. It's orange in Seminole counties, Altamont Springs, Orlando, Winter Park under this warning right along I-4 moving north. More on this after the break.
These are extraordinary times, and we want to thank the extraordinary people in the healthcare community working to care for all of us. At Novartis, we promise to do our part. As always, we're doing everything we can to help keep Cosentyx accessible and affordable. If you have any questions at all, call us, email us, visit us online. We are here to help support you when you need us. Take care and be well. To learn more, call 1-844-COSENTYX or visit Cosentyx.com.
My gums are irritated. I don't have to worry about that. Do I?
Harmful bacteria lurk just below the gum line.
Crest Gum Detoxify, voted Product of the Year. It works below the gum line to neutralize harmful plaque bacteria and help reverse early gum damage. Gum Detoxify from Crest.
The Great American Comeback has begun. A record 2.5 million new jobs in May. And we're just getting started. Before the pandemic, President Trump made our economy the envy of the world. Now he's doing it again, bringing devastated industries back, working to build factories here instead of China, getting direct cash relief to families, renewing, restoring, rebuilding. Together, we'll make America great again.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
You're ready to drive again, and not just to the neighborhood store. In a new Honda, you can enjoy the open road with powerful performance. And your money can go farther too, because Honda holds its value better than any other auto brand. Your Honda dealer is offering flexibility, like shopping online, so you can purchase with confidence. Get your new Honda today. KBB.com's 2020 Best Value Brand.
Thanks for sharing your DIY haircuts. Thanks for sharing your savage moves, and especially your awkward ones. Thanks for sharing your cute kids and your adorable pets. Now it's our turn to share with the Geico Give Back, a 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for both current and new customers. And because we're committed for the long haul, the credit lasts your full policy term. So thanks again. One good share deserves another.
I have the power to lower my blood sugar and A1C.
Because I can still make my own insulin, and Trulicity activates my body to release it, like it's supposed to. Once weekly Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It's not insulin. It starts acting from the first dose, and it lowers risk of heart attack, stroke, or death in people with known heart disease or multiple risk factors.
Trulicity isn't for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it. You or your family have medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, belly pain, and decreased appetite, which lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems. We're committed to helping ensure Trulicity is available and affordable. Learn more at Trulicity.com.
This footage is unlike anything I've ever seen before.
It almost looks like the mothership has landed.
That is so strange.
This looks apocalyptic.
This just seems unnatural to me. I cannot think of anything that would be more terrifying than that.
Whoever said our planet had to explain itself.
The Earth will do what it does.
Explore the strange phenomena of our weird Earth. Premiering next Sunday at 9, only on the Weather Channel.
We are watching our continuing live team coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal. I want to get you into Florida, though, because the concern for tornadoes is there, even as far east as Orlando, and we've got a new tornado warning to tell you about in Orange and Seminole counties. And this one gives us pause, some concern that we may be dealing with a tornado in progress. There are on the velocity, you can see that area of rotation. This is between Orlando and the Conway area. So we're looking at areas down near the airport, pretty residential area. I'm checking in with Dr. Nav. He's very familiar with Florida and, the Orlando area. So we're talking about a residential area. There's that area of rotation correlation coefficient picking up on some non-meteorological debris. So we are getting a signature that could tell us, that tells us we could be looking at a tornado that is causing some damage. So when you look at the correlation coefficient, the blue and the green and the whiter colors, that's non-meteorological. So we're talking not raindrops, not hailstones, but in fact, maybe something like tree debris or building debris. Again, this is just on the southeast side of really downtown Orlando. This is moving to the north. So we're looking at places like Winter Park, 7:40, the expiration for, or the arrival time, excuse me, for you. Maitland at 7:44, and then we're looking at Altamont Springs at 7:48 local time. So this is moving north around 20 miles an hour, kind of following just along and to the east of I-4. If you know somebody who might be out there on the roads this evening, give them a buzz and let them know to pull over, let this storm pass. A lot of heavy rain already up into the Winter Park area, and this storm, that area of rotation will continue to lift northward. We have these tropical systems, and we watch those bands of heavy rain, and also just the overall rotation allowing or exacerbating a threat of tornadoes, also water spouts. We've seen plenty of these warnings and water spouts today, and unfortunately now watching the Orlando area for a possible tornado as we speak. Some very heavy rain from Tampa to Spring Hill and even up towards Ocala and Gainesville. Torrential tropical downpours coming down as the eastern stretches of tropical storm, very large tropical storm Cristobal begin to advance in. Well, our crews are out there along the Gulf Coast, including meteorologist Felicia Combs. She is in Biloxi, Mississippi, a storm-savvy town. Felicia, I'm sure they weren't necessarily counting on it being this early. They were trying to get back into business, and now this not helping the visitors.
Alex, as you mentioned, they are a storm-savvy town, and they were starting to get back into the swing of things. Now, the good news about this system, it's a tropical storm, and they are no stranger to these tropical systems. Of course, still getting prepared, though. We've kind of narrowed the window of hazards here in Biloxi. We've got that storm surge warning. We've got the tropical storm warning. The heavy rain could be an issue as this area is under a flood watch as well. So people are preparing. I've got Mayor Gillich, the mayor of Biloxi, here with me. And, we talked yesterday, and you said they're going to kind of keep an eye on things, see what's going to happen. What has kind of changed since yesterday, now that we know we've got the storm surge warning, we've got the tropical storm warning?
Well, yesterday was being prepared. The low-lying areas and ditches and drainways and things have been cleaned. So as the rain inundates us, things will flow out to the sound and to the bay. So that's been going on, and been a lot of folks that have been moving from the harbors up to what we call Hurricane Hole. And that takes it's like a parade of boats as you see, taking shelter. But a lot of folks are kind of just getting ready, cleaning gutters off their houses like I did today, and just keeping things just in case it does get, winds up there 60 miles an hour. But we're hopeful that, this is an exercise, that an early exercise.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, as always. And of course, Alex mentioned it a little earlier. She's back in the studio, and we were talking about it as well. Starting to get back in the swing of things. It was supposed to be the blessing of the fleet this weekend and things like that, and all of that a bit delayed. So kind of talk about what this system is meaning for Biloxi in the transition from COVID-19 back to normal.
Right. Again, the resorts we have ongoing, the gaming, those kinds of things are getting back in the groove since Memorial Day weekend. The governor has kind of relaxed some of the rules as far as how people can join one another another. You know, of course, the entertainment and the seafood is pretty good here, and those restaurants are a big thing. But yeah, you were right. We're just getting back in the groove, and this threw a little wrench at us. But we'll get through this, and keeping our fingers crossed that this won't be so bad for us or anybody, really.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that one. Real quickly, one message you want to give to anyone who's kind of just waiting on the storm here?
Yeah, just stay tuned, and we'll, you know, our public information will get out on the airways, as well as our emergency management. If things happen to stiffen up, and you know the barometric pressure hurries up, you know, gets up there or gets down there, the word will get out, and we'll be fine.
Thanks so much, Mayor Gillich. We're here in Biloxi, and we'll have more coming up later in the show.
Father's Day may only come once a year, but dads are always doing. This year, celebrate Dad with savings on all of his favorite things, all from his favorite place, the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Feel like getting back out there? Nissan is ready to help you with a bold, award-winning lineup. Kick off summer with no payments for 3 months. Plus, we'll cover your payments for up to 2 more months. Or get 0% financing on 13 models for up to 84 months. Shop at home at nissanusa.com.
America is coming back stronger than ever, but it's recommended to wear face protection to help keep you and the people around you safer. But in times of need, they can be hard to get. Introducing Air Police 4, the non-medical face mask with 4 layers of protection. Ships directly to you from our USA warehouse. Air Police uses 4 layers of high-performance fabric with a cutting-edge, melt-blown, electrostatic inner core. Air Police is soft on the skin, covering your entire nose and chin with a customizable nose piece to fit your face and the breathability to wear your glasses without fogging up. Its high-grade 4-layer design provides an extra layer of protection to help you and your family cope with the demands of our hazardous new world. And our one-size-fits-all flexible ear straps are incredibly comfortable for all-day wear.
Right now, being on the front line every day, having 4 layers of protection is a must.
Remember, a human sneeze or cough can fly over 20 feet away. Other masks have only 3 layers. Air Police 4 has 4 layers and ships directly to your door from our USA-based company for the incredible price of just $1.99 each. But order right now and receive special pricing for as low as 99 cents and get free shipping. Plus, you can get an extra large bottle of our best-selling Hanvana Hydra Clean hand sanitizer that kills 99.9% of germs and softens your hands at the same time. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon and supplies are limited. We urge you to call or go online now for guaranteed delivery. Remember, this offer is not available on Amazon. Order now.
Call 1-800-903-3849. That's 1-800-903-3849. Call or visit airpolice4.com. So call 1-800-903-3849 or visit airpolice4.com. Order now.
As a struggling actor, I need all the breaks that I can get. At Liberty Buchamug.
Cut.
Liberty Bibbity.
Cut. We'll dub it.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Whoever said our planet had to explain itself. Explore the strange phenomena of our weird Earth. Next Sunday night on the Weather Channel.
All right, welcome back into our continuing coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson. We are watching a tornado-warned storm here near the Orlando area, and there was confirmation on this. This was an observed tornado. 2 power flashes. Some spotters reported a funnel on the ground. This is just on the east side of I-4. So this storm now on the northeast side of downtown Orlando. And our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb, we've been watching this, Dr. Knabb, and you and I have been talking during the break about this storm. You know, we look at these tropical systems and they can influence and bring us these tornado warnings, but you're even seeing some of the low-level flow from that correlation coefficient, basically the debris that we're seeing.
Yeah, and if we loop that, you can see southeast of Orlando, see that blow up of the colors, the light blue and the whites, and that showed up right at the time and place where the velocity signature started getting going. But you'll notice that the debris that essentially represents, the non-meteorological debris, is being blown a little bit northwest, even west of I-4. Whereas the velocity signature is continuing kind of straight northeast of I-4. So what might be going on there is once the debris is lofted into the air, what happens is that the low-level velocity signature caught by the radar keeps going north, but because we have low-level wind shear in the atmosphere coming out of the south at lowest levels, there may be more south-southeast when you get a few thousand feet up, that the higher the debris goes, the more it turns left in that southeasterly wind. So the low-level wind shear is contributing to the spin that creates the tornado, and then the low-level wind shear is revealing itself in the way the debris spreads out the higher it goes.
It's kind of an interesting feedback there, because you're exactly right. We get that shear due to this tropical circulation, so that's why we have the tornado warnings, and then you're actually picking it up here in this case of debris. Now, we still have this warning in the Orlando metro area. At this point, we're looking at the east and northeast side. This is a really populated area, though.
Very.
So there's a lot of businesses. There are a lot of homes in the path of this one.
Yeah, you know, the Orlando International Airport is way out southeast of town, and the Orlando Executive Airport is directly east of downtown. And in that whole area east of downtown, it's a very large corridor of a lot of residential areas and a lot of businesses, too. And so, you know, we've had the correlation coefficient supporting what the velocity signature was suggesting, and then a lot of reports coming on Weather Service chat of a confirmed tornado on the ground, power flashes east of downtown. So there's no doubt that this has been doing some kind of damage on the ground.
Yeah, and we're going to be obviously checking in on that, bringing you more reports. But right now, I want to warn some of the other communities that could be in the path of this storm. Again, a confirmed tornado. There were some reports that it lifted, but with that area of rotation still showing up, we want to get you informed. Altamont Springs, 7:50 local time for you. Winter Springs at 7:56. Wagner just before the top of the hour. So these are communities in the path of this storm. Again, this has been a confirmed tornado moving north, 20 miles an hour, may have lifted, but again, that rotation's still there, and we very well still could be dealing with a tornado in progress. So if you're in this area, lowest level, most interior room is where you want and need to be. It's Orange and Seminole counties that continue under the warning. Want to get you caught up on all things Tropical Storm Cristobal. Of course, the threat of tornadoes, just one of the issues. Here's what we know right now. We expect Cristobal to make landfall as a high-end tropical storm. This would be somewhere along the Louisiana coast late on Sunday. Now, that's prompted mandatory evacuations for Terrebonne Parish in Zone 1. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards, he's already declared a state of emergency for his state ahead of the storm's arrival. So our time is running out to prepare, Dr. Nab. This is a very survivable storm. This is one I don't want people to, overly worry about, but there are smart things you can do to make it so much easier for yourself.
Yeah, for the most part, the only reason you'd have to worry is if you put yourself into a dangerous situation. We got to stay out of the water, and there's things we can do to protect ourselves and our homes from not just the saltwater flooding, the storm surge, but also the freshwater flooding from the heavy rain, likely flooding in places like Baton Rouge, New Orleans tomorrow, going up into places like Jackson, Mississippi, up into Arkansas and Missouri when we get Monday into Tuesday. So in preparation for flooding at the coast or inland, one thing you can do is obtain and fill up and stack properly some sandbags around your property. A lot of communities are distributing these, and you fill them up half full, and you kind of fold them over, and you can stack them, and you can especially have a strong barrier there if you stack those sandbags up against a building. But it's not going to protect you against 5-foot storm surge with waves, but it could protect you against a minor to moderate flood, keep water out of your home. You want to go out and clear leaves and other debris out of your gutter so things drain properly, and put valuables and other documents in a waterproof container, and take that and anything valuable higher up in your home, especially if waters are encroaching upon your home or you know you live in a flood-prone area in those areas I just showed, get things off the bottom floor so they don't flood. Take photos and videos of the interior of your home and the exterior in case you have to file an insurance claim afterward. You can prove to the adjuster what you had and make off-site data backups as well. A lot of things we do to get ready for flooding, Alex.
A lot of things you can do now, and you'll be very, very happy you did them if you need it. Get you back to that tornado warning in Orange and Seminole counties in the state of Florida. This is north of Orlando. Warning continues until 8 o'clock. Altamont Springs, Winter Park, some of the communities in the path of this one. We've been looking at the area of rotation just east of I-4. This storm moving north 20 miles an hour. We'll get you another check of the storms, the rain, and reports from live in the field next.
Father's Day may only come once a year, but dads are always doing. This year, celebrate Dad with savings on all of his favorite things, all from his favorite place, the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
I just love hitting the open road and telling people that Liberty Mutual customizes your insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Frito-Lay Variety Packs presents Totally Unrealistic, Never Gonna Happen in a Million Years Mom Fantasies.
Mother, thank you for planning such an enriching camping trip for us.
Please accept this as a token of our appreciation.
Now let us sing to you.
This'll never happen, but this might.
There's like no reception.
I'm not cheering to 10. Bugs!
Dibs on the Fritos.
Frito-Lay Variety Packs, packed with possibilities.
Our Hillshire Farm craftsmen start the day slow roasting turkey for incredible flavor. Then they double seal every slice for freshness. The results? Well, they speak for themselves.
We want to support the employees of America's Bars and Restaurants. So order takeout today, and Bud Light will buy your first round when things reopen. There's a Bud Light there, on us. Find out how at budlight.com/open for takeout.
How would I describe overpaying on a used car? It was humiliating. It's expensive. I just trusted the wrong used car sites.
Carfax has a better way. Only Carfax.com can give you the most accurate price based on the Carfax report. So you never have to overpay on a used car again.
But I guess life goes on. So, all right, come on, boy. Here we go. Let's go, buddy.
Stop the shame of overpaying and start your used car search today at the all-new Carfax.com.
Real people are realizing there's a better way to mobile.
My carrier probably has a lot of fees I don't even know are there. Basic phone line access, federal universal service charge, I don't even know what that is. Why am I paying these fees?
At Spectrum Mobile, there are no added taxes and fees. What you see is what you pay. $45 a line with our unlimited data plan or $14 a gig with our Buy the Gig plan.
The calculator said that we would save $600 a year. We've actually saved $612 in half a year.
With Spectrum Mobile, I'm saving over $350 a year.
$650 a year. It's true. Most customers could see a savings of over $600 a year. Don't wait. Find your savings at SpectrumMobile.com or call 844-258-8115. And get it all with free nationwide talk and text and no contracts.
I'm ready to switch.
Get more for less with our unlimited data plan for $45 a line or our Buy the Gig plan for $14 a gig. Plus, get the flexibility to mix and match plans. Visit a Spectrum store. Go to SpectrumMobile.com or call 844-258-8115.
It's hurricane season. You need to know what weather is heading your way.
We've already got some rain out there this morning and severe storms developing.
America's Morning Headquarters has you covered. So start every day with the best in weather.
I'm going to check out the tropics for you. We're focused in here on the western Atlantic.
AMHQ.
Welcome back into AMHQ, your morning headquarters for weather.
Join Jim Cantori, Stephanie Abrams, and Jen Carfagno. Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 84 degrees under partly cloudy skies with windy conditions. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 64. Winds northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Sunday, mostly sunny skies, high 78. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday night, partly cloudy, low 61. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
All right, I want to get you back into Central Florida. We've got a tornado warning here in Orange and Seminole counties. Now, this is a radar-indicated tornado warning now. This was confirmed earlier. This storm has a history of producing a tornado. The tornado that was in progress right on the east side of Orlando has dissipated, but could quickly redevelop, according to the National Weather Service. Orange, Seminole counties, the areas under the warning. And you're looking at the velocity signature. I want you to especially watch the east side. There, you could see it moving up to the north, and we're actually going to continue that warning now farther north as that area of rotation has extended up towards the Altamont Springs area. So we're looking at northwest side of Winter Park, south side of Altamont Springs. That would be our area of, again, not quite as well-defined rotation as what we had earlier, but still looking at that area of rotation. So if you are anywhere along the I-4 corridor around or north of Altamont Springs. So now we've moved out of Orange County into Seminole County. This warning continues until 8:15. By the way, some small hail possible out of this one, as well as some very, very heavy rainfall. We look at the correlation coefficient moving up into the area, and we're going to be watching for the possibility that we still have some debris out there. You can see that area on the west side of Sanford there to the east side of I-4. So we have had this storm with a history of producing a tornado, and with these tropical systems, very, very common to get these rotating thunderstorms. So they may only be weaker or short-lived, but of course, when you get them into these populated areas, they can do some damage. So we're watching that storm again on the northeast side of Orlando. That continues to move north around 20 miles per hour. Again, radar indicated, but this storm has a history of producing a tornado. So Altamont Springs, Winter Park, areas up I-4 now, getting away from Orlando. So the good news for Orlando, your threat going down, but obviously communities on the north side, that threat going up. There's that correlation coefficient giving us a look at where that storm was located. Now some of those pixels around the Altamont Springs area, we've seen this debris kind of spread out, and as Dr. Knabb pointed out, goes to show us that we've got that wind shear that's contributing to that threat. Maybe the low-level winds more out of the south, but just a little bit aloft. Higher up in the atmosphere, you get those winds out of the southeast. So the turning of winds with height from that overall circulation from Cristobal is contributing to that tornado danger here in the state of Florida. I want to take you to the state of Louisiana. That's where we find meteorologist Chris Bruin. He is in New Iberia, not too far away from Lafayette, so central part of the state. Rain will be a concern. Chris, I think wind could be an issue for you guys, but of course the heavy rain threat's really the main issue moving forward.
Yeah, you know, because we are on the west side of the system, the storm surge factor isn't going to be as big of an issue here because we're going to be having that offshore push. That's going to actually lower the water in most cases. If we see any water rise, it's going to be between now and, say, tomorrow afternoon, because that's when we're going to start seeing our winds shift. And from that point forward, the storm surge issue for western Louisiana will be pretty much non-existent. Sunny right now. In fact, I don't think we're going to see much in the way of storms the rest of the afternoon. We've had a couple of brief showers, but that's really been the case for the day. We haven't really had a lot of rainfall. We've been dealing with a lot of dry air, and it's really cool to see what it looks like in person. If you're observing everybody and everybody's location here on the Weather Channel, you at home can really learn how tropical systems are, and they're each unique. This one has a lot of dry air, so the western side of the storm is lopsided, and there's not a lot of rain. But where Felicia Combs is in Biloxi, Mississippi, it's a little bit different of a story. There's a lot more clouds, and we've had a lot more rain in the Mississippi Gulf Coast today, Felicia.
We certainly have, Chris, and not just today, actually. It has been a very wet time period over, say, the past week, and they've seen quite a bit of rain. So we've actually got a flood watch in effect here because we're expecting quite a bit of rain for this particular area, 4 to 8 inches, locally higher amounts. And I'll tell you, we just started getting these light showers coming down, and I think this is the leading edge of a very thick band of at least showers that's going to be ongoing for several hours as we're going to continue to see some of those bands feeding in. Now, you'll notice we're here in the Small Craft Harbor. This is the oldest harbor in Biloxi. Another issue that we're going to have that Chris was talking about New Iberia will not have, well, that will be the risk for storm surge, and Biloxi is under a storm surge warning. We are expecting, or the forecast is, for 3 to 5 feet of inundation possible because we're going to have such a push of persistently southeasterly winds pushing the water of the Gulf, the Bay of Biloxi, that's all surrounding Biloxi up and pushing it toward the coast. So that is something we have to watch here. Of course, we've got crowds and the team spanned out all across the Gulf Coast, and we'll be bringing you details from then. And we've got you covered here in Biloxi as well. More on all of this and Cristobal after the break.
If you love peanut butter most, this cup has your name on it. If you love chocolate most, this cup has your name on it. Not literally. That'd be a logistical nightmare, especially if we used last names. Then we'd have to do both sides. Reese's lovers, yeah, they're back.
Father's Day may only come once a year, but dads are always doing. This year, celebrate Dad with savings on all of his favorite things, all from his favorite place, the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Ta-da! Did you know Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need?
I should get a quote.
Do it.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Do you know why I love Coffee Mate? Well, it's triple churn and 2 times richer than milk for one perfect cup of coffee. Think I love Coffee Mate too much? No, impossible. Coffee Mate. Coffee's perfect mate.
DiGiorno has 7 delicious crusts, and your family food critics will rave. Rising Crust is fresh baked deliciousness. Stuffed Crust is literally mouth-watering. There's a 5-star pizza for everyone in your family to love. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
These are extraordinary times, and we want to thank the extraordinary people in the healthcare community working to care for all of us. At Novartis, we promise to do our part. As always, we're doing everything we can to help keep Cosentyx accessible and affordable. If you have any questions at all, call us, email us, visit us online. We are here to help support you when you need us. Take care and be well. To learn more, call 1-844-COSENTYX or visit Cosentyx.com.
For every staircase supporting a grand entrance, door frames marking milestones, and floors kissed by bare feet, protect the pure joy of home with Terminix. We're committed to keeping termites out of your home with our all-new On Guard termite protection system, always backed by the Terminix promise to keep your home strong enough for all the love it holds. Call 1-800-TERMINIX today.
The fighting spirit is one we all share. Amanda Nunes wears hers with pride. From standing up for herself against the doubters, to being the only woman in her MMA training gym. Amanda refused to let stereotypes get in her way, whether inside the octagon or out. Since 1925, we've proved that it doesn't matter where you come from. It matters what you're made of. Modelo, the official beer of UFC.
All right, I brought in Ensure Max Protein to give you the protein you need with less of the sugar you don't. I'll take that.
30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. Ensure Max Protein with nutrients to support immune health.
Wait till the last minute to do the hurricane prep, and there's no way to get it all done.
It's going to be a long duration event. We've got a couple of days ahead of rain and wind and surge.
Already getting a lot of rain coming into Florida.
Keeping people out of the Gulf of Mexico is close to all swimming and wading. The lifeguards are working tirelessly to ensure that happens.
Well, welcome back into our special continuing live coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal. Gulf Coast states bracing for landfall within the next 24 to 36 hours. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson. We've got a team with you here, though, tonight to bring you the very latest, including our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. Expert analysis you can only get here on the Weather Channel. Want to get you back to Florida real quick, get you caught up on a tornado warning. This is, of course, one of those threats. You get that wind shear associated with these tropical systems, and this continues on the north side of Orlando. Had a tornado touchdown, very likely. Now, we're going to have the National Weather Service go out there and do confirmation, but according to the radar, it looks very likely that we had this touchdown very close to the executive airport, the Orlando Executive Airport on the west side, moving north from there. Reports are this has lifted, but still could produce a tornado. We're looking at Seminole County now under the warnings. Areas northeast of Altamont Springs, that will continue northward into communities like Sanford and Winter Springs. So if you're in the path of this one, lowest level, most interior room. Again, reports are it has lifted. Still, you can see that area of rotation northeast of Altamont Springs. Possibility that we could see another tornado spin up. And we have our team coverage to bring you all things Cristobal tonight. Dr. Knabb here in studio. Of course, Chris Bruin in New Iberia, Louisiana. Felicia Combs in Biloxi, Mississippi. And Mike Seidel in Grand Isle, Louisiana. So 5 meteorologists with you here tonight to keep you posted. I got to count myself, right? Dr. Knabb, we've got a new advisory to break down here from the National Hurricane Center.
Yeah, and not a whole lot of changes, but I had my computer all set up to show you something real quick, though. I wanted to just quickly recap this tornado that was east of Orlando. Here's Belle Isle. Here's the Orlando International Airport, and look at the velocity signatures showing up right there at the Beeline Expressway and Orange Avenue, and it went straight northward. This is a really long-lived tropical tornado. I haven't seen the one lasted this long in quite a while. And look at that correlation coefficient showing up right there, right as it moved north of Belle Isle. So that was a pretty significant system, and we do have reports of confirmation on the ground that this caused some damage. And when you get the correlation coefficient and on the ground confirmation, we know there's damage. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing some reports of that. But look at that center of action where we've been dealing with flash flood warnings, tornado warnings, is in this primary outer band and another one kind of east of there that is hundreds of miles east of the center of circulation of Tropical Storm Cristobal. Now, that center is still more than 200 miles south of southeastern Louisiana. This is a big, big system. Tentacles far and wide, and this is why we've been harping all week on why we can't focus on the exact center and how many impacts could extend well outside the cone, and that's going to continue to be the case. In fact, tropical storm force winds kind of extend some 400 miles when you go southwest to northeast. So no big changes with this intermediate public advisory. We will have a complete 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, new track and intensity forecast from the Hurricane Center in about 3 hours, and we will definitely bring that to you when it comes in. But north at 12, 50 miles an hour, pressure 993. That's a low pressure for a 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm, but it's using that pressure difference over a very, very large area. The visible imagery at this time of day is pretty impressive. In fact, we're seeing some overshooting tops starting to take shape there north of the center, so there's some rain coming coming in, associated with the central area. It's not just this outer banding that is the problem. Look at all that lightning has been coming into Naples, Fort Myers area. Now, we still have flash flood warnings, okay? Don't want to forget about that. This is just east of Ocala in the Bellevue, Florida area. Flash flood warning until 8:45 local time. This is up the road a piece from where the tornado warning was east of Orlando. It has rained in buckets over the last several hours, 6 inches in some spots along that corridor, and we're likely to get flash flooding tomorrow night into Monday morning in places like New Orleans and Baton Rouge, and then that problem extends inland up through Jackson, Little Rock. Alex, we got wind, we got water, coastal inland. This is a big system.
Yeah, big system, wide-reaching effects, and we've got crews all along the Gulf Coast, because it's not just areas in the cone that will feel those main effects. Storm surge, heavy rain, wind, an issue for Grand Isle. Mike Seidel, those winds have really picked up this afternoon.
Yes, indeed, and so have the wave fights. I just checked the buoy just offshore from Grand Isle this morning at 4 a.m. 4.6 feet, now up to 11.5 feet. So the waves have doubled and tripled since before sunrise this morning, and we're going to see them continue to come up. What we just experienced was a bit of a rogue wave. Now, the tide's been going out now for about 7 hours, so it's out here, but we were just standing up here, and all of a sudden the water just rushed up, and it came up as high as it did at high tide about 10 a.m. this morning. That was kind of caught us off guard. Now, the high tide of concern, though, is going to be tomorrow morning at 10:55 here in Grand Isle, because we have the high tide. Also, we have the push of the water, and we're going to have stronger winds. Right now, the winds are running 20 to 25 miles an hour. Our highest gust here just nearby has been 38 miles an hour. We're in some rain showers right now. You can see that on the radar. We've not had any real squalls yet, but look just to our southeast, down towards the mouth of the Mississippi, down to Burris and Venice. Those are coming in the next hour or so, and that's going to be the beginning of where we get the very heavy rainfall rates of 1-2 inches an hour, and also wind gusts up over 40 miles an hour. In fact, we could see some wind gusts here between now and tomorrow, and landfall over 60 miles an hour, and that could, the concern here, could knock out some power. The locals tell me it doesn't take much here. Let's go inland to New Iberia, where the threat is for inland flash flooding. Chris Bruin, as much as 4 or 5 inches of rain could fall over there in New Iberia.
Yeah, Mike, we're on the far western fringes of the tropical storm warning. So here in New Iberia and Iberia Parish, we're under a tropical storm warning, and this is the last part before you get out of that real threat of tropical weather. Right now, it's tranquil, and I think that's what's so cool. If you've been following the Weather Channel for the duration of the last few days, you've been watching Cristobal and areas on the Gulf Coast, it's really cool to see different parts of the same storm and what it's going to look like as this continues to progress. People are preparing, but again, this is going to be a pretty tame storm, at least for southwestern and central Louisiana. I think some of the worst impacts are going to be much farther off towards the east. And don't just focus on the center of the storm. We're going to have rain all the way over to Florida's Gulf Coast, and that's where some of the heaviest rainfall, even the risk for tornadoes, may be. We've talked to some residents, not just here in New Iberia. We're on the shores of Bayou Teche, famous little riverway. A lot of boaters out, still trying to enjoy part of their weekend before the rain really starts to increase on your Sunday. But closer to the coast, they are starting to do preparations, the typical when any storm threatens. Take a listen.
I brought my golf cart and my riding lawnmower into town in a warehouse to keep it out. I had my boat hooked up just in case to pull the boat out. My tools and stuff downstairs and some of my valuables in my outdoor kitchen. We brought that up on the porch, anticipating that it wouldn't get higher than the porch, A major hurricane, say a Cat 4, Cat 5 coming through, we'd have to haul a lot more of this stuff out to the north. But with this, we just call it hurricane prep, and we pick everything up, the valuables. I still have stuff to pick up, but I brought a lot on the porch yesterday and last night, just in case, and just waiting to see. If it turns, well, then we got more to do, but we're 3/4 of the way done with the hurricane prep, just in case. Because if you, as y'all know, you wait till the last minute to do the hurricane prep, and there's no way to get it all done.
And words from a local himself. You never want to wait. They're not, certainly, and we've had nice weather to get those last-minute preps underway. And Felicia, here in Louisiana, it's just routine. Anytime there's a storm threatening, they bring in all their loose items on carports and underneath the lower levels of their home just to get out of the wind and water threats. Have you noticed any preparations ongoing there on the Mississippi Gulf Coast?
Chris, Biloxi is a lot like Louisiana, where you are. They're no stranger to these tropical systems at all. People have been taking it seriously, and I do think people are watching to see what's happening. Given that it's a tropical storm, maybe they're not as on edge as they would be, say we were forecasting a major hurricane or something of that stature. But I have seen people going out and getting sandbags and things like that and preparing. Now, here's the thing about Biloxi. Biloxi is basically kind of on a peninsula, and it's surrounded on water by three sides. And what you're looking at is the Mississippi Sound, which is kind of just a part of the Gulf of Mexico. And that is part of the issue that we're going to have here. Storm surge warning in effect for Biloxi. The forecast saying 3 to 5 feet of inundation possible. Now, high tide here tomorrow in the Bay of Biloxi is just after 11:30. It's around 11:43 in the morning. And that is when you really start to get worried about things of this nature, like the possibility for storm surge, because you add that on top of the high tide as well. I think we could probably see that jet skiers out and about right now. So some people still not packing it in just yet, taking advantage of the breaks in the rain. But I'll tell you, if we look out south across the Gulf of Mexico, across this barrier island, that is a wall of rain that's been trying to edge its way toward the coast. And once that moves in, it's going to be raining here for a while. So I think the jet skiers better have their fun right now and then get inside pretty quickly, because that rain is certainly edging toward the coast. And once it picks up, it is going to be rain you do not want to be in. Another threat here for Biloxi is going to be that fresh water flooding. They've had quite a bit of rain already this past week. So there is a flood watch in effect, for the Biloxi area, a good portion of southeast Louisiana as well, until Tuesday, because we've seen just so much rain. So multiple threats going on here, even though we are outside of that cone, Alex.
All right, Felicia, thank you so much. We're going to check back in with Felicia. As she just said, you don't want to get caught up in who's in the cone, who's not, because the effects will extend well away from that, including the possibility for tornadoes. You guys, we're watching areas to the west of Daytona Beach, north of Orlando. We've got 2 tornado-warned storms. The southernmost one, this has already produced a tornado down near the Orlando area on the east side of town. Right now, we've got Seminole County under a warning, Lake Mary, Sanford, Winter Springs, just a few communities in the path of this one. To the north, around DeLand, we've got another storm capable of producing a tornado here in Volusia County. Looking at that area of rotation, it's tough to make out a really precise or significant area of rotation, but very likely there on the west-northwest side of DeLand. There you can see it much more clearly popping up. Still at least 2 areas of possible rotation, not quite as noticeable or not quite as strong as what we saw out there earlier. But still, if you are on the east side or west side of 17, lowest level, most interior room, these storms have had a history of producing tornadoes already today. An observed tornado earlier down near the Orlando area. We've got wind shear thanks to this tropical system. It's very common with tropical storms, with hurricanes, as they make their way closer to land, that wind shear will trigger some tornadoes out there. There's our southernmost warning. This is that storm that produced a tornado down near the Orlando area. But again, Volusia County, Seminole counties under the warning. If you're in the path of these, lowest level, most interior room where you need to be. Still looking at some areas of rotation within both. So both storms very possibly bringing tornadoes here across northeast, north central parts of Florida. Dr. Knapp, I want to get back to the coast, talk about the storm surge possibility, because this is such a huge storm. There's going to be a really significant onshore push, and then we've also got high tide that's going to come into play.
Yeah, I almost feel like we need to put some kind of different label on a system when it is large, because the fact that it's a tropical storm is a little bit deceptive in terms of maybe you're not thinking that it's that big a deal, but it's a big deal, right? 400 miles across in terms of the extent of tropical storm force winds southwest to northeast, and a pressure of 993 millibars. I mean, it's going to exert that energy difference somehow when the pressure is that low, and it's exerting that by creating a big pressure gradient over a large distance. So there's still a lot of energy in the atmosphere. It's just not as put together in the interior as like a hurricane would be, or a compact tropical storm. But look at these wind gusts exceeding 30 miles an hour over a very large area, including getting closer and closer to the coast, gusting to 26 at the New Orleans airport, 32 at Grand Isle. We've been up near 30 miles an hour at times in Pensacola. And you see that easterly flow on the northern side of the system. That's what's pushing the water into this little concave area of the coastline, Mississippi coastline, extreme southeast of Louisiana. That's why the storm surge warning is there. That's where the onshore push is going to be greatest, and especially tomorrow morning late, we're going to have high tide in this area. And outside the risk reduction system in New Orleans, it's not in the warning. We could have the life-threatening saltwater inundation in places like Biloxi, Gulfport, in Pass Christian. Right now, the water values above normally dry ground at the coast are not very high, but that's because we're headed into we're headed into low tide this evening. So we're going to have a little bit of a break right now. But these 3 to 5 foot values are storm surge flooding that's expected somewhere in that area above normally dry ground if and when storm surge and high tide coincide. And that's going to be late tomorrow morning. And Isidore is an example of a tropical storm that's large, about as strong as Cristobal is going to be, that took a life along the coast of Mississippi in storm surge in a parking lot because they didn't evacuate and they were out on the road. So, Alex, these storm surge events with a tropical storm can be deadly. We got to get out of those areas.
Yeah, got to be smart, make good decisions. And, you know, when they tell you to go or if they tell you to stay out of an area, listen to the officials. They know what they're doing. Well, Cristobal will bring a ton of rain. We're going to talk about the flooding threats coming up.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and nutrients to support immune health.
Hey, can I go?
Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, safe driver, save 40%. Guys.
Check it out. Safe driver, save 40%.
Safe driver, save 40%.
Safe driver, save 40%. That's Safe Driver Save 40%.
It is. That's Safe Driver Save 40%.
It's right there.
It's him. He's here.
He's right here.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey. That's totally him.
That's him.
That's totally the guy.
Safe drivers do save 40%. Click or call for a quote today.
I'm Norm.
I'm Saz.
And we live in Columbia, Missouri. We do consulting, but we also write.
We take care of ourselves constantly. It's important. We walk 3 to 5 times a week, a couple miles at a time.
We've both been taking Prevagen for a little more than 11 years now. After about 30 days of taking it, we noticed clarity that we didn't notice before.
It's still helping me. I still notice a difference.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Your itchy eyes know they're out there. Thousands of allergens. No wonder you rub your eyes hundreds of times a day. Get full prescription strength Pat-A-Day. 1 drop once a day, relief that lasts all day. Pat-A-Day, now without a prescription, everywhere.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant.
Frito-Lay Variety Packs presents Totally Unrealistic, Never Gonna Happen in a Million Years Mom Fantasies.
Mother, thank you for planning such an enriching camping trip for us.
Please accept this as a token of our appreciation.
Now let us sing to you.
This'll never happen, but this might.
There's like no reception.
I'm not cheering, Ted. Airbags!
Dibs on the Fritos!
Frito-Lay Variety Packs, packed with possibilities.
Fine. No one leaves the table till you're finished.
Fine. We'll sleep here.
It's the easiest because it's the cheesiest. Kraft for the win-win.
When pain wears you down, you need fast relief. And new Icy Hot Dry Spray delivers. Feel it working instantly, providing powerful relief to muscles and joints. Icy to dull, hot to relax. New Icy Hot Dry Spray.
When allergies attack, the excitement fades. Allegra helps you say yes with the fastest non-drowsy allergy relief. For 24-hour relief from your indoor and outdoor allergies, say yes to life's possibilities. Allegra, live your life, not your allergies.
It's summertime, so get ready to sizzle and sweat because it's only getting hotter. But when you've had enough of the heat, stay cool with Petro.
Petro.
That's right. For over 50 years, Petro Home Services has been the AC experts. From tune-ups to installation to 24/7 emergency repairs, nobody helps you keep your cool like Petro. It's a promise, the Petro Promise. Need a new system? Take advantage of our special financing offers. Call to get a quote today.
This is epic! You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat. We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 82 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 65. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday, generally sunny, high 78. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday night, partly cloudy, low 61. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Get you back to Florida. Tornado warning here on the north side of Winter Springs, Florida. So this is our storm that we have been tracking through Orange County into Seminole County, now Volusia County, and right there on the west-northwest side of Sanford. There's our area of rotation once again tightening up. Adam Dean, our weather producer, highlighting that area for you again, just on the west side of Sanford. This storm continues to move north. It's been tracking along into the east of I-4 for about an hour now. Watching that bring a tornado on the east side of Orlando. We've seen some video trying to get some of that in for you here to the Weather Channel. DeBerry, Deltona, Orange City, Lake Helen, and Beresford, all in the path of this storm. Not everybody under that warning, but the warning continues to be reissued with our circulation from Cristobal working its way into parts of the Gulf Coast and now Gulf Coast states and Florida. We've got enough shear that we've seen water spouts and tornado warnings already today. Another warning on the north side of our previous warning I just showed you, now into Volusia County around DeLeon Springs. We've got that area of rotation a little bit more faint earlier, seeing it a little bit more clearly. That continues to lift northward, though. Right now, right around the DeLeon Springs area, this will continue also to move north. These storms outside the tornado warnings capable of producing some really heavy rainfall, too, and you can see some flood warnings over there around Ocala. We are monitoring all aspects of Cristobal, including the hurricane hunter flights that continue into the storm. We're looking now at the Gulf of Mexico. This from the air as the hurricane hunters get out there on their flights to get us the information that we need in regards to the storm, so our forecasts can be more and more accurate. The more data you get, more accurate the forecast. So they're doing really, really important work. This was one of the flights on Friday. Cristobal, right now a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm with winds, or rather pressure at 993 millibars. This is moving north, but again, east loaded, a lot of that tropical moisture. Again, those wind-sheared storms on the Florida Peninsula today, bringing those tornado warnings. Heavy rainfall all along the Gulf Coast is likely down into Florida. So I don't want us to get caught up on the cone and who's in the cone, who's not in the cone, because the impacts are going to extend well outside the cone because, one, this is a very large storm, and two, it's a very lopsided east-loaded storm. So we look at the forecast. This is telling us where the center of that storm will be and maybe where some of the strongest wind gusts will be focused. But again, if you're in Biloxi, if you're in Mobile, if you're in Pensacola, you're going to get in on the wind gusts Sunday and into Monday. Onset of tropical storm force winds coming during the early morning hours here for coastal Louisiana. New Orleans, you're looking at it, I'd say, by mid-morning. You're going to begin to see those wind gusts of those tropical storm force winds set in, and tropical storm warnings are in effect for all the areas in red. So south central Louisiana over into parts of the Florida Panhandle. So that's why our crews are extended all along the coastline. Storm surge watch, storm surge warnings also in effect. This does not include the city of New Orleans. Dr. Nab, that risk mitigation system is going to hold and protect New Orleans in this storm, but outside the city, we could still see that water above normally dry ground.
Yeah, and the local officials know what areas are protected and what areas are not. So if they tell you to go, you need to go. And now we've got the other water problem, the freshwater problem that could also affect southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi, but a lot of you outside of coastal areas are going to be plagued by very heavy rainfall, training in these bands, especially on the north and east side. West coast of Florida and north central Florida is where the heaviest rains on land are right now, and we just had issued by the National Weather Service a flood warning for the Sarasota and Venice areas. This is on the west coast of Florida. Manatee and Sarasota counties, includes Bradenton, until 9:30 p.m. local time. This is the I-75 corridor coming up from Naples. When you come around Port Charlotte, and you get closer to the coast, that part of I-75 south of the Tampa Bay area, that's where we're talking about here. And we're having the inch per hour rain rates, and that's accumulating some problems on the roads, especially the lower spots, intersections, off ramps, that sort of thing. Stay off the roads in those areas. Ocala area, southeast of there, also I-75 a little farther north in the Bellevue area in Marion County is still under a flash flood warning until 8:45 local time. We've had a ton of rain in this area, over 6 inches in the last 6 hours. So we're getting an inch per hour for hours and hours, and that's how you ramp up the total. So take that as a lesson, New Orleans and Baton Rouge and Mobile and Gulfport, because when you start getting your training heavy rains as these bands come in late tonight, early tomorrow morning, you're going to rack up the rainfall totals as it sometimes rains an inch or two per hour. All day Sunday, it'll be off and on heavy bands, and that's until the sender comes ashore. And then you're going to have some perhaps on the southeast side as well. And that's why we're going to be racking up the rainfall totals, 8 to 12 inches locally. Somebody could get a foot of rain. We don't know exactly where. This bullseye in the European model has moved around from New Orleans to southern Mississippi, but you get the picture. Those are the areas at risk. And it's not just going to be at the coast. It's going to be going way inland as well. Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, 5 to 8 inches locally in some of those spots, all the way up into Wisconsin, for crying out loud. And the areas that are greatest risk for flooding tonight and tomorrow are northern Florida, but New Orleans and Baton Rouge, you're in it tomorrow into Monday morning, then Jackson, Mississippi up to Little Rock Monday night into Tuesday. Don't drive your car on any water-covered roads. We can survive this, Alex.
Yeah, and don't think that just because you're not on the coast, the water may not be an issue where you are. Hey, we've got much more in our continuing coverage next.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
Not even our competitor's best battery can match the power of Energizer, because Energizer Ultimate Lithium is the longest-lasting AA battery in the world. Energizer, backed by science, matched by no one.
Motorcycle riders love the open road, and Geico loves helping riders get to where they're going. So to help even more, Geico is giving new and current customers a 15% credit on their motorcycle policies with the Geico Give Back. And because we're committed for the long haul, the credit lasts your full policy term. The Geico Give Back, helping riders focus on the road ahead.
The Great American Comeback has begun. A record 2.5 million new jobs in May. And we're just getting started. Before the pandemic, President Trump made our economy the envy of the world. Now he's doing it again, bringing devastated industries back, working to build factories here instead of China, getting direct cash relief to families, renewing, restoring, rebuilding. Together, we'll make America great again.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Make your summer everything it can be and discover what's possible at Lowe's.
Here's to the experiences we create, the moments we share, wherever we are. San Pellegrino. Enhance your moments.
Feel like getting back out there? Nissan is ready to help you with a bold, award-winning lineup. Kick off summer with no payments for 3 months. Plus, we'll cover your payments for up to 2 more months. Or get 0% financing on 13 models for up to 84 months. Shop at home at nissanusa.com.
This footage is unlike anything I've ever seen before.
It almost looks like the mothership has landed.
That is so strange.
This looks apocalyptic.
This just seems unnatural to me. I cannot think of anything that would be more terrifying than that.
Whoever said our planet had to explain itself.
The Earth will do what it does.
Explore the strange phenomenon of our weird Earth. Premiering next Sunday at 9, only on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back into our Weather Channel live team coverage. Continuing this Saturday evening, Tropical Storm Cristobal advancing closer to the Gulf Coast, and we're already feeling the effects. Winds picking up, rain throughout the day, even tornado warnings across the state of Florida. We've been watching a storm that spawned a tornado. This was on the east side of Orlando, around 7:20, 7:30 local time. Right now, that storm has moved north. Seminole and Volusia County currently under the warning. This is north of Sanford. You can see that area of rotation. Now, at times, it's been much more pronounced, but still, area of rotation. There's a look at it. Again, north side of Sanford. Our weather producer, Adam Dean, giving you a highlight on that so you can pick it out. Essentially, this is the radar showing us the movement. Reds away from the radar, greens towards the radar. So when you have that area where the two are close up, that tells us we've got some rotation. Enterprise, next in line 5 minutes from now. Orange City, 8:51. Casadaga at 8:56 local time. That storm continues to move north, really following just to the east. Now it's going to cross over I-4. The one to the north was just canceled. So there's some good news. We were watching a tornado warning around and north of DeLand, and that one has been canceled. So we continue with this one in Seminole, in Volusia, and Volusia counties. This is south and west of Daytona Beach, to the east of Leesburg, and again northeast of Orlando, as this storm continues to ride along and east of I-4. A lot of heavy rain, though, across Florida, and you can see another storm likely bringing some gusty winds and lightning moving towards the Orlando area following I-4 on the southwest side of town. As I mentioned, we've got crews stretched out all along the Gulf Coast. They're monitoring conditions as Tropical Storm Cristobal approaches. Meteorologist Mike Seidel. Mike, things have really upped the ante there in the Grand Isle, Louisiana area. The wind much stronger than even earlier today.
Now, the wind's now running about 20 miles an hour sustained, and we've had gusts here upwards 30 to 35. Off the coast, we've had gusts as high as 51 miles an hour. But the wave heights, too, have dramatically increased since this morning. Now the buoy just offshore here from Grand Isle, 11.5 feet, and they're going to continue to go up. I wouldn't be surprised to see wave heights offshore upwards of 18 to 20 feet, certainly by tomorrow morning. Here's the Gulf of Mexico. It is really, really like a giant wash tub. Low tide is in about two hours or so, but the water right now is higher than it was at high tide yesterday. So you can think about what's going on. The water's trying to go out, but the wind's pushing it back on shore. So the high tide of concern will be tomorrow morning, 10:55 here in Grand Isle, where we have the combination of the high tide and the winds blowing the water in. We suspect that water is going to go into this area between the beach and the berm like it did on Hurricane Barry last year, Dr. Knapp. It got about halfway up. May not get that far, but plenty of protection for the hotels and all the properties here. And as you well know, Dr. Knapp, FEMA has come in here over the years and in many coastal locations and has really worked on the building codes. And just about everything now is up on stilts here in Grand Isle. Some restaurants, some older buildings on the ground level, but just about everything now here is way up because of the risk of surge and coastal flooding here in Grand Isle.
Yeah, we have control over what the weather and the wind and the water do to us by building the right way, depending on what you're at risk for. And we're at risk for not just water, but wind impacts from this system. Most of the winds are strongest out over the Gulf of Mexico right now, and these are the current buoy observations, gusting to 38 at the buoy 95 just north of the center, and buoy 67 closer to shore, gusting to 34. And on land, Grand Isle been gusting over 30, New Orleans up to 24, Pensacola earlier gusted to 30, and you see this wind blowing from east to west right now on the north side of the system. That's piling up the water there in that concave shape of the coastline, southeast Louisiana and the coast of Mississippi. That's why the water levels will be coming up, especially tomorrow morning's high tide, when the storm surge flooding could be at its worst. Now, the winds overnight tonight will be on the increase, and in places like New Orleans, sometime tomorrow morning, we could be gusting 40, maybe 50 miles an hour. These are wind gusts, okay? This is not sustained wind, but way out to the east of the center, Pensacola could gust to 50, could gust as high as 60 in New Orleans, and you got funneling between buildings, could be stronger at higher floors of high rises, and even after the center moves inland, then you're gonna have an onshore flow. Even if you don't have a rain band, you got a low pressure in this big tropical storm. There could be some really strong winds even well into Monday evening. So those winds could cause power outages. We've got to protect ourselves. They can be surprisingly dangerous or even deadly if we're not careful. If you're going to run a generator, run it outdoors and far away from the building so you don't have carbon monoxide, which is a deadly way that people have perished in past tropical storm power outages. Don't use candles or any open flame. Too much risk of it being left unattended and causing a fire. Stay away from any down power lines. Trees could down the power lines. And if you have any life-sustaining medical equipment, you need to shelter someplace with backup power. Alex, power outages can be a real problem.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of times, you kind of forget to plan and you do something like light a candle, or you forget about the proper use of a generator. So just want to keep you guys safe, make sure everybody gets through this okay. Running out of time to protect our home. Dr. Knapp's going to talk about that next. And of course, we still are monitoring a tornado warned storm here in Seminole and Volusia County, Florida. Actually, now just Volusia County near Deltona.
Ignition.
Visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the RDX.
Your itchy eyes know they're out there. Thousands of allergens. No wonder you rub your eyes hundreds of times a day. Get full prescription strength Pat-A-Day. One drop once a day, relief that lasts all day. Pat-A-Day, now without a prescription, everywhere.
What do we want for dinner?
Burgers! I want a sugar cookie! I want a bucket of chicken! I want...
It's the easiest because it's the cheesiest. Kraft, for the win-win.
And Doug.
Give me your hand! I can save you! Lots of money with Liberty Mutual. We customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The story of the kind mini. We took the full-size bar and cut it in half. So the next time it's 3 o'clock and you want some delicious dark chocolate, grab a dark chocolate nuts and sea salt mini with whole almonds and just 90 calories. It's a kinder way to satisfy.
Our 12-step process provides 100% pure quality water. Look for kids packs from Nestle Pure Life. Fun designs and a perfect size just for your kids.
DiGiorno has 7 delicious crusts, and your family food critics will rave. Rising crust is fresh baked deliciousness. Stuffed crust is literally mouth-watering. There's a 5-star pizza for everyone in your family to love. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Listen.
That's the sound of organic beer being made. Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Beer in its organic form.
These are extraordinary times, and we want to thank the extraordinary people in the healthcare community working to care for all of us. At Novartis, we promise to do our part. As always, we're doing everything we can to help keep Cosentyx accessible and affordable. If you have any questions at all, call us, email us, visit us online. We're here to help support you when you need us. Take care and be well. To learn more, call 1-844-COSENTYX or visit Cosentyx.com.
Yeah. Little choices make a big difference. Like delicious fruits and veggies. However you healthy. Naked.
Oh, this is gonna hit town!
Inside the storm, every second counts. Deadline to disaster next Sunday night on the Weather Channel.
Well, common with tropical systems moving towards and onto the land, that interaction, that wind shear can trigger tornado warnings and tornadoes, and sure enough, that's what we've got. This storm produced a tornado earlier today down near the Orlando area, east side of town. It was captured actually on some news cameras, and seeing some video of that circulate on social media. We're working to get that for you, by the way. Right now, Volusia County remains under the tornado warning. We're watching areas to the west of Deltona. This storm has been lifting north, so through Orange County, Seminole County, now Volusia County, and you can see that area of rotation. Now, this is set to expire in 8 minutes, but still, I want you to watch this storm because it has a history, obviously, of producing tornadoes, and still at least seeing enough rotation that gives us pause, gives us concern that we could see another tornado spin up. DeBerry, one of the communities in the path of this one. This is right along now and beginning to cross over I-4, so continuing that northward motion outside of this area. Gosh, Florida's getting swamped with heavy rain. We've got some flash flood warnings. This one for Marion County, the community of Bellevue. And we're seeing really heavy rain towards Crescent City and Pearson. I mean, tropical downpours. And this is something that we're going to be concerned about moving forward. Florida, all along the Gulf Coast, heavy rain out of this system. Look at this rainfall. Over the last 6 hours, about 7 inches of rain being reported there on the southeast side of Ocala, Florida. So flash flooding, a real concern tonight and moving forward into the start of the new week. So I think tonight, tomorrow, into Monday, we're going to have to watch a lot of communities that could see that water just piling up. More heavy rain headed into some of these areas. We've got lightning, another round of storms moving towards Orlando. I think this one could bring you some gusty winds with it. Areas west of 95, north of Daytona Beach, getting soaked as well. So wouldn't be surprised to see some more flash flood warnings issued either. If you're out there, you find a water-covered roadway, turn around, don't drown. Easiest thing to do. You know, the system like this, we're not going to be dealing with crazy winds, but we are going to be dealing with that storm surge and that threat of flooding from rainfall. So flooding takes so many lives a year. I know sometimes we're just not afraid of water, but take it seriously and you'll be just fine with this storm. Well, special coverage of Tropical Storm Cristobal continues right now. Here's what we know. This storm will likely make landfall as a high-end tropical storm along the Louisiana coast, so power outages, some wind issues, definitely a possibility near the center of this storm, and even on the east side. This is really east-loaded. Evacuations for Terrebonne Parish. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards has declared a state of emergency ahead of the storm's arrival. Dr. Nab, we talk about things you can do to just make it easier to get through the storm, things you can do around your home, around your yard, that just keep you safe and secure.
Yeah, and when you're going to be dealing with flooding, there's a lot of things that you can do to keep yourself safe. In addition to staying off the roads, preparing your home, and you know, inside that risk reduction system in New Orleans, you're going to have the heavy rainfall, so you could have flooding there, could have it in Baton Rouge, could have it in Jackson, Mississippi, maybe Little Rock, Arkansas. So this is going to be an inland problem as well. So I'm talking to you folks, not just at the coast, but way inland. You can be preparing while there's some time left for potential flooding. Now, one thing you can do, especially if you know you're in a flood-prone area and you want to be ready for water maybe encroaching on your structure, is to get sandbags. You got to fill them properly. You fill them about half full, and then you fold that over and you stack the next one on top of that other folded part, and you can stack them about 3 high on their own. But if you put it up against a building, you can stack it up even higher, and that can keep 1, 2, or 3 feet of flooding from getting into your home. This is not going to protect against a big-time flood, but for some relatively minor flooding around your home, it can help keep the water out. Now, also, drainage around your home. You want to go clear those gutters this evening if you haven't had the rain start yet. Get the leaves and the debris out of there so things drain properly around your property. And put valuables and documents in a waterproof container, and then take that and put it as high up in your home as you can. And do that with computers. Do that with furniture. Again, if you know you're in a flood-prone area and you're in these high-risk areas for this event that I just showed you, get things elevated so you lose less if you got a little bit of flooding in your home. And take photos and video of the interior and exterior of your home, because that can document what happens afterward when you're filing an insurance claim. You can show, here's what I had before it got ruined by the floodwaters, and make some off-site data backups off your computer, off your devices. Now, what else can you be doing to get ready at the last minute? Bring stuff indoors. Tropical storm force winds, gusts of 50, 60 miles an hour can toss tools like that all around your yard, and flying projectiles can go through windows. Bring in planters, bring in patio furniture. It's not so much the wind that causes damage, it's what's flying around in the wind. So you can keep the damage around your home from being greater by bringing in these loose items. And if you got rocks around your home, you might want to put mulch there instead. That's less of a projectile. Now, finally, what can you do to buy a few things at the last minute if you haven't gotten all your supplies and be thinking about getting through a power outage? Well, fill your prescriptions and get over-the-counter medications, because if the power is out, the store where you get important prescriptions or medications might be closed. So get those now. Get cash at the ATM, because the contactless payments, the credit cards won't work when the power's out. Get batteries and power your LED lamps, not candles, because those can start a fire. Get a portable cell phone charger, and Alex, charge it all up before the power goes out. Cell phones can be the first way with texting that comes back online after the storm.
Yeah, great to know. And it keeps the family happy too, right? No joke, we've got a new tornado warning for the southwest side of Orlando, Florida. Orange County under the warning. This storm is moving to the north and east around the Dr. Phillips area. Well, more right after this.
When you let nature just do its thing, is it any wonder our beer tastes so pure? Michelob Ultra Pure Gold, beer in its organic form.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant.
When it comes to longevity, who has the highest percentage of its vehicles still on the road today? Subaru. When it comes to best overall value, who does IntelliChoice rank #1? Subaru. And when it comes to safety, who has more 2020 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus winning vehicles? More than Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai combined? Subaru. It's easy to love a car you can trust. It's easy to love a Subaru.
Get 0% APR financing for 63 months on select Subaru models, now through June 30th.
Domino's is serious about food safety. That's why your pizza stays untouched after baking at 450 degrees. And now that every delivery is contactless, you can safely mix and match any 2 or more for just $5.99 each when you sit around the table, even if it's not the same table.
Not even our competitor's best battery can match the power of Energizer, because Energizer Ultimate Lithium is the longest-lasting AA battery in the world. Energizer, backed by science, matched by no one.
Meet Jim. For Jim, comfort is king, which is why when it comes to his dentures, only new Polygrip Cushion and Comfort will do. The first and only formula with adaptive grip cushioning technology. Choose new Polygrip Cushion and Comfort.
Father's Day may only come once a year, but dads are always doing. This year, celebrate Dad with savings on all of his favorite things, all from his favorite place, the Home Depot. How doers get more.
Could have sworn the treasure was right here.
I found something.
Oh, that's what that symbol meant.
You know, instead of hiding our money, it'd be better if there was a place that'll hold it for you safely. Oh, you could take little bits out when you wanted.
How would they know it's yours?
Eventually, somebody has a better idea.
Oh, you could have a little card with your name on it. Everyone can have secret passwords. I love secrets.
Like simple mobile plans with no contracts. And now with 5G, it's a better way to mobile. It's Spectrum Mobile.
As you get older, staying sharp is more important than ever.
Where's my tab?
Oh, you have to remember the names of your grandkids, pets, your son-in-law.
Favorite son-in-law.
And the eternal question, where did you put your glasses? Yeah. Sure, you can spend the day looking for things that you misplaced, or you can take Natrol Cognium. Cognium improves memory and recall in healthy adults. It's safe and is shown to be effective in multiple human clinical trials.
6-letter word for head?
Noggin. Stay sharp. Stay you with Natrol Cognium.
And my password?
Hurricane season. You need to know what weather is heading your way.
We've already got some rain out there this morning and severe storms developing.
America's Morning Headquarters has you covered. So start every day with the best in weather.
I'm going to check out the tropics for you. We're focused in here on the Western Atlantic.
AMHQ.
Welcome back into AMHQ, your morning headquarters for weather.
Join Jim Cantori, Stephanie Abrams, and Jen Carfagno. Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 81 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 65. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday, generally sunny, high 78. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday night, partly cloudy, low 61. Winds north-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
A new video to share with you of that tornado earlier today around the Orlando area. You can see that off in the distance, right of center on the screen. See that funnel extending to the ground. This one of several videos that we are seeing, and again, we're going to be bringing them to you throughout the evening as we get those cleared and in our system. But this tornado warned storm still producing a tornado warning, but we've got a new warning now into the Orlando metro area. This is Orange County, the southwest side of town, so very close to the Disney World area, actually. We were watching a storm earlier that moved from the SeaWorld area up towards Universal Orlando. Now we look at the Disney World area. It's along a line of storms that I think is likely bringing some gusty winds, a little area of shear, so a little change in direction along that line closer to the Windermere area, and that's where we could see a quick spin up of a tornado. With these tropical systems, we've got Tropical Storm Cristobal making its way closer to the Gulf Coast. And we've seen some of the outer bands, the very heavy rain, work into portions of Florida today. We've got that wind shear, and that is allowing for some of those storms to rotate. So this could be another one of those. Windermere, Gotha, Pine Hills, Orlando, and Fairview Shores, all in the path of this storm. This tornado warning continues, the tornado warned storm, I should say, continues to move to the north and east. So eventually, now we'll be looking at the west-northwest side of Orlando. About, an hour and a half ago, we were watching the east side of Orlando with that tornado warned storm that has since moved well to the north. But very closely watching that little notch just around the Windermere area where we could see a spin up of a tornado. Outside of that, be prepared for very heavy rain, be prepared for gusty winds, and be prepared for a lot of lightning. We've seen that out of the storms today. So if you're hearing thunder, inside where you need to be. I know it's, getting to the evening, so a lot of you are likely home at this point, but it's not one of those times where you want to be, walking the dog or anything. This is that storm that produced our tornado earlier. Now a severe thunderstorm warning on this. So gusty winds possible, maybe some small hail out of this one. This is north and northwest of Deltona. Want to take you way to the north. So we're not talking Cristobal anymore. We are talking about just severe storms working through portions of the Northeast today. The East, the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic. We've seen storms. Boston's at 68 degrees right now, but we have storms on the way. So let's walk you through this warning. You can see it extends just up to the west side of the metro area. So downtown Boston not included right now, but Middlesex, Norfolk, and Worcester counties are under the warning. Cambridge, Newton, Somerville. I want you to watch for the possibility of hail, winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. It's been a problem all week with trees coming down with these strong winds, so be prepared for that threat once again. Marlborough, Sudbury, Waltham, Cambridge, and eventually Boston in the path of this one around 9:38 local time. So you got about a half hour before things really change in a big way. If you know somebody who may be out in Boston this evening, give them a buzz. Let them know it is on the way. You don't want to find yourself outside right now. Want to get you back to the tropics, though. Our hurricane expert, Dr. Nab, watching the very latest with Cristobal. This is a large, wide-reaching storm with a lot of effects. The rain, gosh, the tornado warnings and the heavy rain already in Florida, and it's going to continue.
Yeah, the worst aspect of this storm is that it's so large. That's the big problem, literally and figuratively, right? The center of circulation has not been the center of action. That's been way off to the east, and the maximum winds are 50 miles an hour, but the winds of tropical storm force occupy from southwest to northeast some 400 miles of Gulf of Mexico real estate, so to speak. So this is a large system, and all that banding here in the Florida Panhandle has caused all the severe weather and the heavy rainfall and the flooding and the size of this system. Look at all of these isobars. So there's a lot of pressure gradient over a large area. So there's strong winds occupying a huge part of the Gulf of Mexico, and that big fetch is pushing the salt water into the southeast Louisiana and Mississippi area. And so we've got a lot of issues with a big storm. Always worse than a small one. Now let's take a look at the severe thunderstorms, well, not severe thunderstorms, but the thunderstorms and the heavy rainfall that have been producing some severe weather. The flash flooding has also been an issue. We were showing you the Bellevue area east of Ocala, but we've also got a flood warning here south of the Tampa Bay area, Palmetto, Sarasota, Bradenton, down to Venice and the I-75 corridor. A lot of heavy rainfall there. Turn around, don't drown applies. Anywhere you got a flood or flash flood warning, and the area we're really concerned about is Baton Rouge, New Orleans for tomorrow night into Monday morning. And then that extends inland. Places like Jackson, Mississippi, Little Rock, Arkansas, even up into Missouri. St. Louis could be in the mix. This is going to bring a lot of heavy rainfall, so turn around, don't drown. That's the main way we can survive easily from flash flooding. Now, the winds are on the increase, 33 gusting at Grand Isle, New Orleans gusting to 24. We've gusted up near 30 at Pensacola, but look at that flow from east to west. That's why that Mississippi coastline, southeast Louisiana, outside the risk reduction system is going to see the water rises. That's where the storm surge warning is, because we're piling up the water. And tomorrow morning, we're going to have high tide. Right now, the water levels above normally dry ground at the coast, not so bad. But late tomorrow morning, we're going to have high tide and the strongest onshore push. That's when you could have the 3 to 5 feet of storm surge flooding. Look at that high tide late tomorrow morning. So, Alex, we've got a lot of issues as the conditions deteriorate on the Gulf Coast overnight tonight.
Yeah, we're going to have our Paul Goodloe there, by the way. We've got our extended live coverage that will continue next. Meteorologist Jackie Jarris, storm specialist Mark Elliott, and, of course, our crews scattered along the Gulf Coast. We're with you to keep you covered.